My good buddy Victor said he's got a project and he'd like to bring it over. Now, this door-to-door delivery's got me a little suspicious right out of the gate. This isn't the first time Victor's shown up with a pile of parts, but the urgency seems a bit new and invigorated.
Surprise.
Right? It is a surprise. I see some stuff I recognize, but some stuff I don't.
It's a Volkswagen pan, and you know I'm not a Volkswagen guy.
You know I am. He's brought it to the right place.
That's why it's here. Me and Hector were playing with it a little because I wanted some other kind of roadster or something, but with Ian's touch, you know, the Ed Roth feel and his space junkie vibe.
Yes, sir.
I said, who better could put this puzzle together and make it look cool?
I think you're looking for an excuse to get some extra sheet metal out of your yard, but hey, you came to the right place. Clearly, the tables have turned. Normally, I'm the one that's pitching all the crazy ideas, you know, cardboard, masking tape, all the envisioning tools. Here it comes. Even in my backyard, the world works in mysterious ways. I see your envisioning tools are hard at work. It's just a wedge, just straight up, looking like a log splitter almost. Just something comes straight down to a sharp blade in the front, huh?
This is your name written on it. I mocked this up mainly so I could get my space of where the interior was gonna go and that I fit in it. This here, to me, feels right. The rest is whatever you think. I got some extra parts. If you could use them, you use them.
Always with Victor's pile of parts, I'm seeing things that I recognize, but he's always got that wild card he throws in. I never know when it's gonna strike. It needs just about everything, but I'm not sure how that Metropolitan body translates to this exotic shape you're describing. I think these little Metropolitans are awesome cars. It's just like for customization potential, there's not really a lot going on there, but hey, you gotta start somewhere.
Sleep on it, let the stars affect you out here, and you'll feel it.
Ladies and gentlemen, he has a dream, and the knucklehead to fall through with it.
Here's some options. I brought you some tires. Check this out.
That's a big one. If I wasn't confused before, I definitely am now. I thought we were doing like Hot Rod Roadster. It looks like we're heading to the Dub Show. That's some serious tire compared to what you were working with.
Look at the way that looks now. It's got that look.
It's got a look all right, I'll give that to you.
The body, your wedge, I call it a piece of cheese. You could call it the Cheese Biscuit or whatever you want.
I've threw out some wild ideas in the past, you know? I'm always open, fair game for creativity, but I don't know. May I introduce our latest project, the Cheese Biscuit.
There she is, look at that.
An image is worth 1,000 words.
The Metropolitan, I mean, do you see that incorporated in this?
I don't know what I'm seeing, man. I'm gonna have to think on it.
Hey, I got some more stuff behind my truck, and I think it might
I'm getting heart
change
palpitations. I don't know if I could stand this. What else is there? At the beginning of every project, it's just important to stay focused on the big idea. Victor's bringing up references, Space Junkie, Ed Roth. Even though the starting point's not looking so hot, the idea is there.
Check this out.
What is
This is off of a Studebaker Hawk.
Oh, yes.
This is the one missing link to human civilization. Tell me that wasn't made for this.
Holy cheese wedge. That is what's happening. Look how the spear points right at the front spindle. I mean, that's the game changer right there. All the proportions are pretty wild, etc., but once we put this fin on, it's like, whoa, okay, now I see where we're going. Big fire starts with the strike of the match. You just need one thing to set it off.
Of course, I understand. I just brought you the parts. That's 2%. You got to do 98% of filling it in and making it all work.
It's almost too easy.
Simplicity.
Like, aren't they all?
I got more parts.
No.
A lot more parts for the front and for the back. Anything goes. Whatever you feel, do it. Use them or don't use them, but do what you do.
You have more faith in me than I do, man. I love it. You're the wind beneath my hat. It's awesome. I got my work cut out for me on this one, and it's nothing an afternoon of fabrication can't fix. Put this thing back in the shop, and I gotta say, this is a super loose mock-up, probably one of the loosest we've ever started from, but he said I have free reign, right? That's what I heard. So I'm gonna do what I think needs to be done. I love the idea of building a concept from nothing. Victor pretty much came in, made a bold statement, and dropped the mic. He's like, that's your job. So we can reference that should we need to. All I've ever wanted to do is just build my own stuff, so Victor's showing me that opportunity. All right, we got this mouse trap out of the way. He's talking about these rims, 22-inch diameter rims on a Volkswagen. Let's just see. Take a moment to digest the possibilities. I'm not 100% feeling those rims. I'm not opposed to big diameter wheels, but something about the stagger, right? You want big in the back, little in the front. That's the hot rod flavor. Looking a little like a roller skate at this point. Victor likes big rims and he cannot lie. Now we're getting somewhere. Helps, we're trying to hide that engine, so we're trying to pack as much material around that as possible. Those rims do just that. Wheelbase is way too short. Close together or far apart or just right. See what I'm saying? Right now, it's got the Mr. Peabody look. It's kind of like really close together. Smaller wheels would appear farther apart. Right now, I think I'm just getting hung up on the actual look of these rims and not just the overall proportions of it. So I'm gonna try to look past that and just use them as circles. So you got your standard 45-degree miter, right? But then you got that, right? Now a car like that is like, that's what we're looking for. A weapon, not just a commuter car. I think I gotta cut this floor pan. Ooh, look, there's a pearl in there. It's like an oyster. I think that's a good omen. Check out this ride height now. Showing. Now we're getting somewhere. It's gotta be that long. I mean, it's just like that. What part of that didn't you understand? Out of all the parts that Victor dropped off, one stood high above the rest, the crown jewel. Look at this. He is the swap meet king. Yes. Sometimes you just need a few things for the mock-up to start to take shape. I mean, this wheelbase, this shifter, because heck yeah, this is a perfect lead off into the flavor of the car, right? It's that cartoon hot rod. Look at this shifter. I think I want to get that Metropolitan body chopped up and just see if that affords us anything, any clues as to what happens next. I got that car all whacked apart, so Victor brought this menagerie of parts as usual. We're gonna try to do something with these fins and these two sides of that Metropolitan. This is the beginning of a delicate dance. Stacking parts, arranging parts, moving them around, and at this point, your guess is as good as mine. See, when I saw the Metropolitan body, I knew I wanted to wedge the front of it down to get it as low as possible, and man, it's got that kind of a wedge shape already. I know the wheelbase is gonna be longer. How much longer? I have no clue. As much as I like that tire centered in the fender well, I think the back of the car should move as far forward as possible. Tuck it right to that engine, I think. It's the moment of truth. Weirdo-rama. Oh no. That is kooky. All of a sudden, it looks really, really tall at this point with that fin stuck on there. Let's see if we can make this door hinge and look as low as possible. With this Metropolitan body, I see a way to minimize the body height, but I don't want to get into sectioning this, bringing the hinges closer together. So I'm cutting right through the bare minimum this door is going to need to stay in place and hinge. So that's as low as it can be. Space Junkie was successful because it was so squished. Let me see what it takes to take off this door handle. I might just cut the whole top of this body off. At this stage of the game, I'm basically grasping in the dark. I have no idea what I'm up to. Just looking for that thing that's like, ah, there it is. So I'm gonna take off that front tire and use it as a template. I wanna be showing the tire complete, so Now you can see that panel doesn't look so big with that massive hole cut in it. Sometimes you just need 3 tires for a 2-tire job. I think I'm gonna cut the top of that door off. See the camel hump on the front? It's no bueno. It's got a swing, ring-a-ding swing, baby. Just going for a feeling. It's going for a good vibe. It's gotta have a lot of cowbell. It's gotta be special. I'm thinking like that would be the turnaround. This cool little ribbed detail. During this process, you have to use the gentlest of touches. Like picking a rose when in full bloom. Yeah. Easy. It's a pretty loose arrangement, eh? What I'm looking at is this fin ending and then the body continuing like such. Right? You got a lower wedge, so it's like boom, boom. Right there. The door just looks so appropriate coming right to the tire like that. This is the true envisioning process. I know it's not in plain sight, but it is if you look in just the right places. Anybody, right? You walk in the door and you look at this. It's like, what is this? I guess I do get caught up in my own brain sometimes. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Look how big that quarter panel is. Without that tire on, whew, that wasn't gonna work. Aha! There's a tire in there. I can't stand it. First I didn't like the rims, now I'm all goosey. This style rim might win me over after all. Having a body panel next to this wheel, it's like, whoa, wait a second. Yeah, that's hot rod. Proportions everything, and looking at that tail light hanging off the back end, I'm like, ooh, we gotta tighten that up a bit. This is what's gonna sell the back end of the car, in my opinion. I'm really happy with the door, the tire, and the bobbed off back end. This fin is coming down, coming forward, and then again, our axle being somewhere out here, I'm assuming. Maybe furtherer, I don't know, but that's kind of where we're at. I'm gonna replicate this exact measurements to the other side and then carry on with the front and the back. Even though we only have a half a car presented, I feel like we're leaning in the right direction. And even if we're not, we're only half wrong, right? Diced up that whole Nash Metropolitan and it worked out great. I just mimicked the driver's side with the passenger side and put in a bunch of structure. I made this cool little curved backrest. You got some representation of what the back of this bucket area that you sit in is. It's feeling good. At this point in the process, my focus is on getting the front of that car as low as possible. The Volkswagen Beam with its stacked tubes was not going to afford that super low look, so I called in some reinforcements. I ordered a 6-inch drop axle from Speedway. This is your typical hot rod setup. Disc brakes, rack and pinion steering. It's not a Volkswagen, Victor. We're hiding all that business. When people look at this, they'll be like, wait, something doesn't add up. There's usually a big V8 engine sitting right here. Not this time. Literally, the hood height can be right here. That's super low. Volkswagen and the hot rod, they gotta meet up. I got a plan. It involves some of this. It's from another project, that crazy trike thing. Piece of the leftover chassis, it's super strong. Oh, I gotta get back in the gym. This is envisioning central right here, and look how close this perch is to that body line. I like that. This is what I was seeing when he showed me that wedge silhouette. It's like extremely low in the front. And when I saw it on the VW, I was like, man, it just doesn't work. You got these two shocks coming way up. This is gonna work. I mean, usually we talk about like, oh, waist-high car, knee-high car. Now that's a toy. I think this wheelbase is perfect. I want to get this thing into like a roller status and then consider what's happening with the body. Looking at Victor's mock-up and looking what we have here, I'm seeing a straight shot on an angle, front to back, right to the front spindles. The Cheese Biscuit has an angle. It's sharp cheddar. I think for right now, I'm gonna bolt these heim joints right to the pan just to get some kind of a reference. To all those that say I don't even have a tape measure, well, I found it and I'm using it. This is one of the only times in life where it's hip to be square. That's a win. See? Nice big rainbow bridge. And what does every rainbow have buried inside? Mounting hardware, of course. Boom. Of course, that structure is going to get a bunch more strength. This was just to get the axle in position so I can set up this sheet metal. So it's all got to kind of come together. So I want to keep the center perch of the chassis super narrow. I think the body's going to be somewhere in here like this, right to there. The way that I'm feeling is not only do we want this wedged down from top to bottom like Victor presented, I want the both sides coming in. I want it more like a chisel point. The look here is pure speed, you know, like the tip of a lightning bolt, right? Fast. That defining rib in the lower portion of the door, I'm gonna try to mimic that. It's 2 blank sheets and then just take a look. So see, that's approximate. Then you can see how it radiuses down from there. Put a little hoo-ha in it. Trim this off. That looks pretty good. That's our gauge. That all started when I was learning to make gutters for houses. You could see that this could easily be turned into a gutter shape. So some people, like the wealthy, they wanted a special shaped gutter. Seriously. So they said, oh, I drew this design, and now how do you do that? That's how I did that. Sometimes it just shows you can work yourself out of the gutter. You could be somebody. This is a different radius for sheet metal. I'm just gonna clamp it to the table and hand bend it. Bring in the heavy timber. With all metal, control is the law of the land. You tell it what to do. That being said, sometimes we all need to be told what to do. I mean, what are we supposed to do? Think for ourselves? Wait, no, I'm doing this backwards again. Let me reset. Get my dyslexia on. But again, when you don't have any rules, and you got no supervision, stuff's bound to go wrong. I've learned a lot more by making mistakes than the times when everything's gone as planned. Are we doing it in the right order, Ian? Yes, I think we are. I'm a dancer, I'm a shucker, I'm a jiver. I'm not sweating. It's cold out. It's fine. Everybody hold your breath. Probably have to step on it once or twice. Woohoo! I'm feeling this. Shoots the line right across from the rim to the rim. If Victor doesn't like that, we're gonna have to have a serious discussion. I gotta say, it was a little dicey. I flipped, I flopped, bent and unbent, but I think this body line works. Flows right through. The front is looking impossibly low. I love it. Everything about this is progressing for sure. The front of the car is just looking too boxy to me. I got an idea to enhance this front grille and the way it meets the door hinges. We are 2 sides closer and we're still not playing with a full deck. On to the next. Wanted to get all that structure in place before I really got this body into shape. So now it's gusseted, triangulated, all the things. Standing back and looking at it, there's still something with these body panels that needs to be addressed. Started notching it where the body would pass through these radius rods. And I started looking at it like, is it really gonna be this hard angle here? You know, because I want to pinch right to that grill. Because look at that shape. I don't like that. It looks like a soapbox derby car or something made out of plywood. I want it to look like a 52-year-old amateur built this, not a 12-year-old. Let me get my inspiration stick. Right? Yeah, it gets small real fast in here. My foot's actually outside of the car at this point, but it's all about the look, right? I mean, you do want to look like the giant monster sitting out of the car, so I think making it as small as possible is appropriate. Even though Victor went through great lengths to rope off the interior space for his seating, where he's like, yeah, I want to step in the car easy. I want to be sitting here like this, cup holder, the whole thing, stereo's playing. I'm like, no, we're gonna tighten that up. Like it's purpose built, as small and light as possible and as strong as possible for that one driver to fit. So I'm doing the exact opposite. I'm gonna make it undrivable by the actual creator. It's gonna be that tight. So easy to continue stacking until it looks like an overweight mess, right? I've always taken the opposite route and tried to like sharpen it, refine it. A lot of times you end up with a much smaller interior than expected. Looks better already, baby. I hogged both of these cavities open, so it should give us a few more inches. Yep, it's pretty aggressive. Looks good from here. I think the choice to cut this floor pan into a triangle shape was the right one. I mean, looking at it from the nose now, it's got the flow. All the envisioning in a world really doesn't matter at this point. It's all about getting things in line and all the structure in. Goes from like thin body, and then the body comes in, it's just totally not a Volkswagen, something very different. But we aren't done yet. We both know that this concept has to be as complete as we can muster to prepare it for the arrival of the master enhancer. Like they say, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. I think Victor really didn't have a lot of expectations coming into this. Like he had a concept, and like I think he's along for the ride.
You nailed it. I mean, who in their right mind, the way you continued the body line, so the whole side of the car is complete. It's awesome. I love the front end you put on this thing. The tires in the front, we almost need to do something like you did on the Space Junkie, something narrower.
That's what's bugging me also. It looks like it's got two giant mitts coming at you. Look at those spokes I brought in. Those are off a T-bucket. I don't know why there's knobby tires. What if we just take those rims and just mock them up? I think it's gonna make the front of this car look so much lighter.
All right, let's do that.
Victor's got really good taste in cars, obviously. So in me putting on these rims, it's like, oh, it's a very classic look all of a sudden. And yeah, you can get with that, right? I mean, knobbies or not, look how light the front of the car looks now.
I mean, look at you got a wedge coming right after you with wings coming out. So it's like, what the heck's this guy doing? It's gotta be Ian stuff. I just need a little bit more beat, but I got what you're trying to tell me. There's your speedster, right?
For sure. There's something to be said for just falling into the groove. We're in line with the rims. We're in line with the general direction the body's taking, and I mean, just carry on.
I brought you all this stuff again. You know me, I'm a collector of fine art.
This is fine art. And no mock-up would be complete without Victor introducing an entire onslaught of new parts to add to the mix.
Use what you want. I got different kinds of headlight, tail light, headlights, tail light, grills and stuff. That's Pomona at its best.
I like what he's putting down here. You know, all these parts, they speak volumes, you know, atomic age, retro future, space travel. These are sweet. You even know what these are from?
No.
They're huge.
They're from Pomona, that's all I know.
Yeah. I'm not one to be completely upstaged by Victor. I'm always collecting stuff too, and I got a few things to throw in the mix as well. Check this out.
Wow, War of the Worlds, man. That's my favorite movie.
Right? Come on.
That'd be some good sunglasses for you. That's cool.
Right? Just raise them up maybe 3 or 4 inches. So the car's going so fast, right? You wouldn't be like going into the wind like that. You'd be like squinting, trying to go into the wind. I'm glad you love these headlights because I felt like that was gonna solve it. You can work on the rims, but the issue with the hood, I'm seeing more of a rounded edge like you would see on most 50s cars, you know? Contour in here.
I got Zephyr hoods. I bring you one, you cut it to size, and you got your contour.
A Lincoln Zephyr hood is really a special part in the hot rod and custom world. You really can't get them, so to throw this in the mix is pretty daring. So you got your VW, you got your Metro, you got your Studebaker, you got your Speedway, and then you got your Zephyr. It's a magic number.
And the Edsel.
6. I like how this is
Hey.
stacking up. The parts stash just keeps going and going. I mean, you talk about throwing in the kitchen sink. This is like the 1980s Honda spoiler on the trunk. He leaves nothing out for the trash. It's like some Star Trek lines right there.
Actually, it goes better that way.
Yeah, you're kind of freaking me out, man. My mind is spinning on this back end now. I got some concepts, but I want to come down to your place and pick up that hood, because that, to me, it feels like a solution, the Zephyr hood.
Just keep doing what you're doing. Continue on that journey, because I'm with you.
This is music to my ears, you know, the synchronicity of ridiculousness. Victor is on track for success. Went right down to Victor's. As soon as he said he had this hood, I knew we were on the right track. It's exactly what we need. It's a triangle. It's a wedge, right? It's a 41 Lincoln Zephyr. I don't know. I almost never have trouble cutting stuff up, but look at this. One great thing about Victor is he's not afraid to throw the trash at the project, and he's really not afraid to throw the treasure at it either. The Zephyr, in my opinion, is just about perfection in auto design. That gives the front of the car so much more character. Those straight shots that I set up look juvenile in comparison. Zephyr sculptors had their game face on when they made this nose. Things that guy gets me into. Sometimes you just gotta put your feelings aside and do what's required for the cause. I'm just gonna ruin it right now. When I say ruin, I mean enhance. I'm going to enhance it. The benefit is the perfectness of the shape of this. It's got a nice spearhead contour right to this tiny little grille we're using in the front. Widens out on a nice plane to where the door jambs are. I mean, it's ideal. The old scrap it, then lap it trick. Look at that. You saw the cardboard mock-up. It's like a big box on the front, right? This puts the shape in it. I mean, just shape, like right now. It's just a matter of getting that top stacked appearance off of the back of it, and then tapering it to fit the nose cone so that it guns down. It's still a little bit high in the front and high in the back. Sometimes we just have to be pushed into the evolution process. I mean, yes, Ian, you are worthy of putting awesome parts on your car. Ooh, look at that puzzle come together. That is a savory stew right there. I decided I was gonna cut this hood dead center. Knowing Victor, he's probably gonna put a little peak with some filler, so a weld seam hidden in there is ideal. So this is all screwed together. It's nice and strong now. It's gonna be a long seam to weld, so the screws are gonna hold it in place perfectly, so I could take my time welding. I'm gonna pop these side panels off. You can see how straight shot these tubes are. So the sheet metal is just following that. So now the sheet metal is gonna follow the curve of that, which should make it more better. So graceful, I mean, what a good call. These sides are just gonna follow the contour now. I'm gonna take the suspension off. Unfortunately, I did cut those holes in the front. I'm gonna have to do some piecemealing back together to get around that. Apply the sides, continue on. When you're sitting down at dinner in a nice restaurant, steak dinner in front of you, that's all you're thinking about is the final product, not the goings-on that happened at the beginning of the process. This is exactly where I want it to be. I mean, look at the great shape. It's just not even triangular anymore. It's just like graceful, like a boat. I mean, Zephyr's a beautiful car. It's a good candidate for our butcher job. I am dying to put the front axle on this just to look, but we're not running those tires. The openings won't allow the radius arms to go in, but I mean, the body shape to me, feeling it. There's still a big issue of missing car on the back of this project. The only thing that's in the way in the back is this fan shroud. I have to work around that, otherwise I could do anything I want. But I want something kind of exotic. The Nash Metropolitan is a very flat, draped piece of sheet metal. 54 Chevy has the same look, just a nice round deck lid. I was thinking maybe about that. I also remembered I had some VW Type 3 deck lids, so I put that on there. And it's like, well, that looks like the back of a car to me. It's got a cool shape to it. I think it needs something more than just that. Like, what does it do? Just go straight down in the back and then a couple taillights? That doesn't look very interesting to me. I want it to look like more exotic, you know? When you look at it from the back, it doesn't look like any other car. I had a lot of consideration about what to do on the back of this, you know? Anything goes, but what do I have on hand? I had another one of these, same unit, right? What if you just put them together like this? Look, they match. That's like the back bumper of a UFO, if I'm not mistaken. This is pure sculpture at this point. That's my favorite thing to do, so it only follows that that's all I think about 24/7, right? Just might work. I love how it's like a super exaggerated roll pan. I love the orientation of the fins and this curve right here. So it's coming in your eye, it's coming down and back up right here. We're talking about the wedge, right? So this is like from here to there. Just gotta come up a little bit more. I want this to raise high up enough to access the engine, etc. I want the whole back of the car to open. So I'm gonna come up with a little hinge plan, swinging from the stock mounting location on this deck lid. The nut gets welded to the car, and the deck lid swivels around it. Drum roll, please. Yeah, I mean, you have perfect access to the complete engine. This is gonna get cut back somewhere through here, so there's a lot of room to offer. Definitely cool. I'm gonna get rid of this right now, because that's bugging me. That thing's sticking out like a sore piece of sheet metal. Not really rocket science, it's deck lid science. I'm not gonna use much more than my knee bone. Like so. If you really want, I could turn this into a big formal production, right? I could get out the tubing bender, make some templates. I could even get the tape measure out, make it look really important. I saw the shape I needed. I had an extra knee laying around, so what the heck? Yeah, the taillights are pretty big aesthetic in what's happening back here. I think less towards the bottom of the car is better. Just gonna keep everything like focused on the wings. I think it's about time we busted into Victor's treasure trove. He brought in some real jewels, and I think this car could use some sparkle. You know, these are pretty tasty, but I feel like they're definitely horizontal. These are super space age, but I think they're just too big for those fins. Now, these little gems, and look at that. Does that not say flying spaceship thing? I think Victor knows that the key to all of our success so far has been his parts sourcing, and I gotta say, he knows how to pick them. That little baby set right in there. There's something about the shape of these particular taillights. I think it's gonna really tidy up and refine the statement of the back end of this car. Did a little work on the rear of these fins. I extended them out, took some sheet metal and formed it to fit up these taillights just right. I felt like this little bulge in the fender here would just sort of terminate right at the taillight, and then it would just fall down in a very generic shape. Like that way it's pretty much open to whatever kind of flavor we want to add to it. There's something about, like, you know, the Martian's antennas, the way they're like that. I just felt like the taillights and the fins, like you had this like round shape with two like things coming off. I don't know, worked for me. Even though the majority of the back is defined, there's still a lot of holes in the rear portion. You know, it's kind of like the Swiss cheese biscuit, but we're going for more the mozzarella biscuit. It's sort of round, it's sort of triangle. So to just kind of make that flow with sheet metal, it's easier said than done. So I'm thinking I can utilize this rest of the Nash Metropolitan body. This is the front fender. It's got a bunch of good character lines in it. I think that's just gonna add a less generic flavor to it. This is the old joining of the Studebaker, Nash Metropolitan, and Volkswagen Type 3 Trek. Here we go. The first step is to create some kind of a line that transfers the taillight fin to the bottom of the car. In just looking at the back of the car, I'm seeing this horizontal band where the two deck lids joined, and I'm thinking that it may turn up into the flat plane of the taillights, so just trying to create a ridge that would lead into that feeling. I said I want to make a tubular right now and put this piece in. You got one slice of pizza. Pepperoni. Because this is just a vacant space, you know, I'm imagining the curve, the contour that'll blend around the corner into the wheel arch area. So I'm just looking around and choosing something that matches that contour in my mind. For me, I'm not a really good planner, but I'm a really good improviser. And this pretty much documents the process precisely. I'm just trying to follow the lay of the land. Yes. No plans, winging a prayer. Voila. I love this dip in the Studebaker fin. It's got some more flow, you know? It's more organic. Name the state. Start it right where it fits the best. I'm gonna begin the mutilation process. It's starting to curve this piece of flat steel, and it's putting a lot of stress in the panel, which is gonna make it super strong. You're gonna need that rigidity for space travel. Seen some craft come apart at Mach 6. It's a messy scenario. I took my time, did all the welding, fabbed out the whole rear corners, and it's almost time for Mr. Cacho to take over on this creation. I love the fins and the taillights, but looking at the center section, it's just kind of mute. Time's a wasting, it's running out. What's my last call on the look of the back of this car? I think I got one more idea. Two of the things I saved were from a Cadillac. I don't know what year that is, but that's definitely in the front grille. You got all these little chrome bullet shapes, and man, maybe Frenched in a bit, a little out, just a big oval opening. With this insert, you know, it'll be functional and look pretty spacey. It's like that 13-year-old kid with braces, right? I'm thinking, man, the Zephyr hood classed this thing up so much. Wouldn't a little bit of Cadillac in the back look good? I want to frame it out with some round tube. Might have to roll it a little, I don't know. That's the adventure. You may think you've seen all my tricks, but alas, the story has just begun. Get my mega magnet and stick this in place. It looks like an average piece of steel. That's how powerful the magnet is. Could pull a wall down if I'm not careful. Hours of fun with your friends. Love it. So you just stick it on the car, stick your piece in place. I think I'm gonna pull it down a little bit because I'm seeing like a graceful arch. Been on the horn with Victor. He's doing some serious thought and gathering for this vehicle. I think it's ready to head down to his shack. He says he's got his interior mind going. Victor is the fit and finish master, you know? He's like, no, you just hung the skin on the body. I'm ready to dress it. I've seen him be reasonably conservative on some of the projects, and I've seen him go off the walls on others. So this thing, who knows what could happen. Now let's put this wire to hold it as a reference, but that's kind of the look. This really added to it. Now the deck lid has some dimension to it. It's like an alien face. It's pretty weird. That was the last major aesthetic change. We're still working on some concepts for the windshield and dashboard. I think the momentum is building. This car at this point, as wild as it looks, it's still a blank slate. Once it gets into Victor's hands, all bets are off. The only thing I could say for sure is that we're not sure where it's gonna go from here. Let the dice roll. Victor called me down to the Cacho residence talking about change. Business as usual with this guy, always hustling.
Check this out, Ian. I might need a few more slight enhancements.
Yeah, as usual. Wait, what? Wow. Whoa. Talk about a jaw-dropper moment. I'm just like, wow. I'm expecting a car in the middle of some kind of crisis. This thing is awesome. Holy moly, you've been a little busy.
I slightly changed a few things.
I can see the changes. It's orange now.
You wanted a cheese biscuit, you got it.
It's done. It's finished. It's beautiful. It's even orange, like sharp cheddar. I love how you changed the fins, because you kept saying like the grill looked like an angry rat with the ears sticking up in the fins or something, but this totally fixed it. One major change in the back was the taillights are disappeared. He rounded off, and I gotta say, good call, man. It looks smooth.
It defines its own look, right? I mean, tell me when you've ever seen that before.
Never. It looks great. I just wondered, like, you know, what are you gonna do for taillights?
I got taillights.
You just
I'll
didn't
never
put 'em
live
in.
that down. Everywhere I go, where are the taillights? Stay there. I don't want to take that heat anymore. Taillights.
Oh, right on. Stealth mode. I think the car is a little bit of everything. It's futuristic. It's definitely got street rod vibes. The classic panel shapes of the old cars we used are represented, so it's kind of a mashup. It's its own thing.
And the original bubble topper where we started blowing bubbles, I brought it and made the windshield out of it.
Right. Okay.
And I just kind of added another contour to it.
I like it. Yeah, I love the interior.
Clean and classy.
We did flip-flop in conversation on the wheel choice. I tried spokes. He ends up with these big diameter, like exotic car rims. And in the end, it is an exotic car.
These are off of a 4x4 truck.
Right, I know the style, the big lifted trucks with the small, low-profile off-road tires. And now I see what you're doing, man. It works. With Victor and I, our collaboration is always sort of the perfect storm. You know, he's like, I got these crazy ideas. I'm like, well, I got this crazy brain and I got a welder. And every time it works out really cool.
You know me, I'm a fanatic.
No,
Once I get
no.
started,
Don't say that. A fanatic? I would never have thought. Victor fires it up and tells me to jump in, and I'm like, where? There's no room in this thing. This thing's right out of the garage, so he's like, hey, let's go up to the park, do a few laps, see how it feels, you know, see if the tires are gonna fall off. My first ride in a Roadster just sealed the deal for me. It's like a chopper with 4 wheels, and you got the same vibe in this car. It's very light. The arrangement of the chassis allows a guy 6'2" like me, I can put my legs way up in the front of the car. There's tons of leg room. You're right on the road. It's loud as heck. It's super fun. That's the weirdest Volkswagen I've ever ridden in. I've ridden in some weird Volkswagens. I think the Cheese Biscuit is gonna get renamed to Cheese Whiz. This thing moves.
I was never a Volkswagen guy, but now, hey, I think I converted. Do I need a sticker saying Volkswagen guy or something?
Yeah, I can get you that. I got you a t-shirt also. That's been my experience too. You can look at Volkswagens and not like them, but as soon as you get into one, the charm, it emanates. You can just feel it. I think in Victor's heart, he's like an all cars guy in the end, but this is just a good example of his versatility.
Your fab was incredible. The finish came out better than I anticipated. And hey, she's cool. I'm happy.
It just keeps getting weirder and weirder, man. I don't even know what we're gonna do next.
Believe me, we'll figure it out.
Crazy thing about wrapping up a project with Victor, he's already starting on the next project. This one, the paint ain't even dry yet. I got my good buddy Eric out here for another Rancho Russello adventure.
Coming out here, obviously, yes, you get a phone call from Mr. Roussel, you make things happen.
Now, we've done some really wacky stuff in the past. That Space Junkie bubble top, and then the Blue Demon project was just ridiculous. So,
All right.
Eric has been a long-time great collaborator. His ideas are always out of the box. He's got a track record to prove it. From the first project we ever worked on, it's always shown something that neither of us expected, and that's why he's here for the mission. Yeah, of course I didn't ask you out here on a vacation. I got you here for a reason.
What? Come on.
And that's why I didn't tell you what we were building. I've never worked on a station wagon before. I've never had one. So
Wait a
I'm
minute, you've
like,
never had a wagon?
Never. Rust-free car, very solid, so it's got a lot of potential. It has some kind of a conservative factor to it, but I want to take all that away.
Yeah, no conservatism.
I want to go like super radical on this. It's gonna be full, yeah, full fashion show. Anything you think about, I don't think I'll say no. Like seriously, I got
I'm gonna push that.
I got one idea already that I want to start off with on the nose, but the rest of it is just ideas, man, whatever you're thinking.
No, I'm down for this. Ian, he loves that realm, that area where we don't know what's gonna happen. Normal is boring, and if it doesn't make your hand shake, you're doing something wrong.
I took the liberty of sourcing some parts to address this and the nose, but other than that, I don't have any plans like stuck in stone.
So anything, we can do anything.
You can do anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
You may regret that.
I doubt it. Welcome to a full custom funhouse where rules, structure, and discipline are all out the window. But look at the apron in the front.
Yeah.
It has a story. This is definitely not its hood. This is definitely not its fender, so
No.
something happened. You're gonna dig my idea for the nose. Check this out. You might recognize some pieces,
Studebaker!
right?
Oh.
Rust-free, collision-free.
All right. Yeah, that, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
right? Yeah, so it's got the hood, the nose, the fenders, the headlights, and the chromes.
Oh, like a glove.
Right? I haven't even done this yet. I just collected these parts and did some trimming.
I'm into this. All right, that's a good start point, man. What this does is this sets the stage of what we have to do with the rest of the body.
Super weird.
The flavor's there.
That's the theory right there.
Yeah.
You might be wondering just where we're headed with this project, and that makes two of us. But I think mocking up this nose gives us a crystal ball view into the future of this grocery getter wagon. So I figure we'll just cut off all that damage in the collision area right through the spare tire and just remock it up.
Start from there, yeah.
Eric and I are on the same frequency. There's no time overspent talking on it. We're right to the task. I think the key points of getting the Studebaker nose to fit on the VW is that the Studebaker is physically a bigger car. It's longer in the wheelbase. The squareback's very stubby on the nose to the tire. It's got to stay as close to the windshield as possible because otherwise it's going to look like, you know, like a schooner or something coming out of the front. You're going to set up the envisioning. So you got the piece of steel.
High tech as always.
And the pencil.
And the pencil. Okay.
Pencil will adjust the angle of the dangle. So you're looking at this on the car, right?
Yep.
So set up the base of that square with this line.
Yeah. Ah, very clever.
And then the bullet mounting is this angle, so it'll be a perfect 90 degrees.
Yeah, we're about on par. It checks out.
Math
It's been
checks
certified.
out.
Yeah, it's been certified. I did this one and I did this one.
Excellent.
At most shops, you use protractors and laser centers and pointers and all this stuff, and there's a process. Not here. It's a carpenter's square, a chunk of wood, and a pencil. And that's it. Yep. Perfect.
I think this is going to offer a really cool transition from the VW look in the front because that was a very sloped down look, and this is very prominent, like the 50s cars. Oh, I love this. From that flat, very bland Type 3 nose to this, whoa,
Yeah.
it's a mutant.
Kind of like we're chiseling this out and finding its place in the universe. It's a discovery for all three of us, including this yellow banana.
That's quite a stellar arrangement. I don't know what kind of all-male review clubs you're performing in, but that's something. How do your coworkers usually feel about that with the flash coming off of that helmet? Wow. I gotta say, that is pretty extra special. Eric is very much at home in embracing the weird. Yeah, as long as these two are good, that's gonna be a simple addition.
Tell me that looks cool. I don't want to look. Tell me it looks cool.
That looks cool.
All right, now I'm jazzed.
Yeah.
Ian's got a really good eye to kind of be able to blend two different genres together. He can bring in pieces and say, I think we can make this work and I think we can make that work. And usually 9 times out of 10 or 9.9 times out of 10, it does work really well.
I think we should utilize this VW body line
Yeah.
and cut the stewed fender right above it.
Keep as much of this
Keep
as we can.
much of this, because we're using the VW wheel arch, but this is so Studebaker, we don't want to lose that curve. Is everything okay over there?
Yeah. I'm not sure, but I think this is the one, or it could be this one because there's more, and it could be like that means business, or...
Would you just use the force and get with the program? I want your eyes shut on this next cut. I see the force is strong with you. Yes. So hold it just above the body line. That's it, dude. It's a whole different experience when that helmet's working in the dark.
New dimension.
It's like a discotheque up in here. I gotta brush up my dance moves with this kind of activity in the shop. Look at that, dude. That is really cool.
No, I'm digging this.
It's way narrower than the Studebaker, but it works.
It's funny how the proportions, you can change them like that, and it still keeps its shape. It still keeps its flavor.
This is exactly what I was hoping to see. This car parked in a lineup, you're gonna go, wait, what? Studebaker station wagon? I don't get it. I wanna get that passenger fender on. This is getting me charged up, dude. I wanna hit that roof next.
It's half custom. It will be full custom in a moment.
So getting this nose on, I mean, what a radical change. I love it. The rest of the body now is way bland. Next task on the list is addressing the roof line. I don't really have any specific ideas, but I know I definitely don't want stock.
You need to make the roof as off the wall as possible,
Yeah.
because the rest of it is just...
I think let's just tack weld the door shut and just cut the roof right off. Let's just mess around with some ideas. I mean, it could go anywhere in discussion, but you know, once you put the parts in place, you find
That's
that
when you
sweet
start
spot.
seeing stuff, yeah.
Building up a project like this from only a few parts ideas, I'm just waiting for the statement. I'm waiting for the what is it moment. I'm not attached to this roof, and in a few minutes, the car's not gonna be attached to the roof either.
I'm not attached to anything but my wife.
My first thought is always go as radical as possible and then pull back. Some people may think baby steps. I say eat the whole sandwich. Ugh. It's getting less yellow with every cut. Now it has zero character. It doesn't look like anything.
I didn't think it could get any more plain, but yet here it is. Needs more cowbell.
Definitely needs more cowbell.
Let's spin it around. We have the post on the back. We have the front posts.
Use the hatchback as the...
Yeah, use the hatchback.
Hey, I'm up for anything. I mean, that's what we're here for, discussion, right?
Why not?
I told Eric all ideas were up for consideration, so, I mean, here we go. Look how narrow that is. Doesn't even look bad backwards. Interesting.
Yeah.
I thought you had a horrible idea.
It's completely horrible. The fact that you listen to me is astonishing. Don't do that again.
I'm usually the guy with the wild ideas, and I'm just like, that can't possibly work. But wait, 4 inches where the windshield lands? Because that round windshield was kind of like a falling back effect, and
Yeah.
this gives it like a little more
It's got a meanness.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff in the way, but I'm digging this
Yeah.
bang right there.
Straight down. The roof is way narrower in the rear than in the front. So it's like, what?
Yeah, now what? But
Upon exploration, it's just a megaton of work to make this roof fit properly. By flipping it, we'd have to cut through the center, widen it, etc. I don't think we'd gain much reward, but the forehead on this is starting to have some appeal. I have a Nash Metropolitan roof in the back. Maybe we should look at that.
yeah.
Here lies the remains of my last project with Victor. And as you can see, it's ripe for the picking.
Oh.
And it's, when we're talking flat glass and see the forehead on this?
Yeah.
It's very much like that.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Maybe it'll be a hint in the right direction?
Yeah.
I don't know. First step is to get rid of the dash and all the glass. We're only interested in the roof skin and the pillars. Rubber seals and the desert don't get along very well together.
I see that.
Yeah, they get petrified. I don't mean scared. Oh, wow, it's not that narrow after all.
Maybe too Studebaker.
I like this.
Yeah.
I like this. You know, this is a nice shape. That's just lacking. That's a no bueno.
Every time you put a different roof on it, it looks like a different type of vehicle. You're like, yeah, no, but maybe.
Like, what if it was like a truck style with a tonneau cover, like super low?
His mentality is just so like, the sky's the limit. You can do anything. Ooh.
It's nice to get into a project where you don't know what you're building, isn't it?
I love this.
He doesn't know what to say.
I have no idea. So day one, you know, things pretty easy. Put a Studebaker bullet nose on the front end of the sucker. Boom, done. Where's my cupcake? But as we progress into the roof chop, the fear is washing over now at this point because it's like,
We had a great day yesterday, didn't we?
yeah.
Now what do we do?
Ian, of course, as always, is as cool as a cucumber or as lays like broccoli.
There is light at the end of the tunnel. One step at a time. Might be losing my trusty sidekick to the process. I gotta reel him back in. I'm gonna stick that windshield on here. The stock glass, just as the Roadster look. This is where we really need to keep inventory of all the things we've tried. So far, we've changed the front of the roof line, and we like how it complemented the Studebaker nose.
It kind of looks like a beach buggy now that you can rent.
Banana buggy beach rentals.
Hey.
I always say all my projects have a story, whether it's the supervillain driving the hot rod or the alien driving a spaceship. Somehow this beach buggy rental story just began. Banana hammock beach buggy rentals. Come join us.
You're welcome for your $1 million idea.
Just looking at the car, I'm thinking, you know, what if we used the stock glass and just like leaned it back, raked it? That's kind of radical. It's just big window, but laid way back. You're all shook up now, aren't you, baby?
Yeah, I'm twisted.
There's just a whole thing about not doing weird for weird's sake. It's easy to go over the line where people take it as comical, right? Because you could be like, ew, that's weird. But if you make it intriguing, all of a sudden, that's weird. Looks pretty aggressive.
It's not looking like a squareback anymore.
No. I did a couple chops where I used the stock glass but sunk it in. And this is different with the slant back, with the changing of the angle of it. It's appealing for some reason. I was thinking, of course, oh, the most radical chop ever, right? And it's just like, man, it just looked weird. I didn't want to get way out of proportion between the side panels and then the roof height. Something about this dimension works.
Ian's envisioning process, it's in his head. The best you can do is just try to lasso whatever comes out of his mouth as he's looking at something. You just have to kind of watch how it goes down.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling it.
Welder up, sire.
With the chop on the car now, you stand back and look. I'm kind of digging how this thing's progressing. The thing's starting to now kind of tell us what it wants.
Never said it was gonna be easy, but we are one step closer to driving our big yellow banana. As for now, the chop works. I like it. The proportions there, only slight tuning to get it into gear. I'm digging the open feel of this pillarless roof. There's just something about having the breeze through open air design. It wasn't something I planned. Happy accident scenario. No B-pillars, I'm going for it. Presentation of the D-pillar at this point is gonna mean everything. You know, the roof, of course, is lower, but it's also more forward. Got the old mismatch issue. The roof is...
I mean, it's just a tiny, tiny mismatch, just a little.
I really wanna see the engine.
I can get down on that, yeah, absolutely.
And I wanna change the taillights. Right now, my concept is just like a hot rod. You'll see the engine up front exposed. Right now, that's the way I'm feeling about the back end.
Jewelry box, basically.
100%. So see, the engine's here, right? So imagine the roof only being to the engine.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, yeah, because ultimately it doesn't need to be that long.
It could be something like, see, anything could happen, right?
Okay. I'm glad
But
I
then
got up this morning.
But to make it even weirder, so, okay, we're gonna have these fenders sticking out the back, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, everybody's gonna know, Type 3 taillights, right? So check this out.
Oh, there's more.
Look at that. What year, 53?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
You got the peak here,
Yeah.
and you got the peak here. And that's exactly what I saw on the Cadillac.
Okay. Yeah, drop down in position and everything. That'll look really good.
Settle those in,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
decide on the roof.
Now we have the wild in the back as well, which works out well. So I think we're balancing it properly. Let's get started.
I like the way you think.
A lot of Ian's projects, there's cool and weird mixed into one. He has developed an eye to somehow blend the two together, and I love watching to see what he does, because he can blend cool and weird together like nobody else. Are the envisioning goggles working?
The number one thing I saw about the Caddy taillights was they were on their own perch. So similar to the Studebaker fenders being their own projectiles in the front, the Cadillac taillights came up and do the same. Yeah, that's weird. And these vents, we're just gonna cover them later. It's not gonna have the Type 3 cooling anymore.
Yeah, I feel as though this is a step in the right direction here.
He likes it.
I like it.
So this is the big debate, like what happens now with the roof? How short does it get? We don't want it to look like a pickup truck, and we don't want it to look like the notchback sedan.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Captain? I saved the bottom of the pillar, a little turnaround.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, so if that goes down to 0, right
Oh, yeah.
about there,
Perfect, smart idea.
then, so that would kind of go like that. Shall we go to the envisioning tape?
I think so, yes. Let's see what that brings us.
Because we're not really running any side windows whatsoever, the A and D pillar are primary. Maybe that pillar's more vertical? Oh, no.
No. May I?
Yeah.
Dumb idea. There's no dumb ideas, but there could be a dumb idea.
Ooh, Studebaker? What Rambler wagon does that? Rambler does that. Wait, look, what if I grab the passenger side? It already done does that. Talk about freak show. So we get that desired effect of the engine exposed, but now the rear window is like a trucker hat over the engine. Like the bill of the hat is coming out over it.
Business in front, party out back.
You never know what you end up with in a project. You know, I had in my mind an idea about a shortened roof, exposing the engine, and this idea just might be the ticket. This would pretty much be like that.
Well, not that bad. Here, let me hold it. You take a look.
So weird. The Studebaker has this huge depth. The square back is a box. Now we're achieving fins out and a huge depth.
Yeah. It doesn't look super great, but I think it's a better approach than the other way, which would be where the normals would take it to, I think.
And I excel at making things that aren't really good looking. I love my job. Right off the bat, Eric says backwards pillar. I'm like, oh yeah, like some other cars I've seen in the past that were oddballs. Count me in. This is what's gonna sell it. This transition and that transition being this is what's gonna sell that whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the hatch. We got the corners right there. There they are.
Sweet beans!
All great ideas, right? Anything can happen, but it's gotta look convincing. I always say that. And reversed angle on the pillar, heck yeah, if we could pull it off. Structurally, it's not that huge of a challenge, but aesthetically, visually, it's already like a bold choice, and it can't, again, look weird. It's gotta look, wow, that's weird. It's easy to come up with an idea, but to follow through, who dug it? You're in for a ride sometime. The whole thing is utilizing Eric's time to the maximum. Rectamundo. It's a rough concept. Just get the ideas down and I'll fix it up. Voila.
Yeah, I think we can get away with that.
For sure. Starting to shape up. The back end is presenting these two tall pillar-like quarter panels independent of the body, and the taillights are just the little toppers on them. Feels like the front of the Studebaker nose. How you feeling? You look a little woozy.
I don't know yet.
Yeah, standing back on it, just the open back. I mean, it looks like some kind of a utility vehicle. Like, yeah, I could see this at the beach. It's a four-seater, you throw your gear through the side. The back is just wide open.
Yeah, it's giving it purpose now. It's like Lion Country Safari. You could just sit in there and feed the giraffes and...
That was the whole lead up with this open back. The engine's popping up through the floor, and we're gonna see it. Whatever we gotta do, no rules.
All right, cool.
We were trying to get weird, and boy, did we succeed. I gotta say, that pillar issue was something I didn't see coming, but here we are. You know, the front's so radical, the back's getting crazy. Let's just cut this off and make something different.
Yeah, all right, that'll work.
By pushing this back, it'll make these fins appear bigger.
Groovy, I'm into that.
I really don't want it to look like a stock square back rear with the Cadillac taillights. I want to radically redesign the center of it as well. I love the idea right now of the exposed engine, this sunken area, exposing all the mechanicals. I just want to work with that. So this engine's just a mock-up. It's a core. The fresh engine is at the rebuilder right now, so you're really getting warmed up on these VWs now that you're hanging out with me, man. And of course, I got a few tasty treats to spice things up. It's a pretty cool fan shroud. I got this set of carbs. Oh. But see, now look, it's kind of stacking up in there, right? I want to show as much of this as possible, so I'm thinking maybe this deck comes out completely.
Nice plan. I like that.
See, like reverse like that. Give it a little curvature. I just had a really weird idea.
I'm in.
I love what you're doing with that pan. So it's a sheet metal here, right? But I was like, man, it's gonna be so bland, right? But no, it's actually the exhaust cove. So that's just the pan, and the exhaust is some kind of really showy thing right here.
Right. Yeah, I like that idea a lot.
I gotta look at my parts stash. I think I might have some interesting tips. See, there's a thing, I just can't throw them away. Ooh.
There's more?
Everybody has their little secrets.
Really? There's got to be some kind of support group for this sort of thing. I mean, the exhaust selection was a buffet. And I mean like the buffet you bring a bib in your own silverware.
I mean, you can't be too ready for an exhaust swap.
No,
That's
no,
all
no.
I'm saying.
I mean, how to put this? His exhaust fetish is actually a really good collection. He's got a lot of really neat shapes, different styles. He's got Monza pipes, he's got stuff in stainless, he's got all sorts of little trumpet guys. So it really works out.
This is the first thing I thought of because they'll polish up.
I do like that. I do
Right.
like these little bendy guys.
Before we get into exhaust ideas, we need to get some sheet metal in place to see what we're really working with. The rear end design is still a blank slate, but now you can see how the fenders tie in, how the roof proportion fits with the engine in place, etc. I mean, as a concept,
I'm liking this.
I'm feeling it. I mean, it's a total freak show. That's exactly what I was asking for.
The fit and finish of it, I can't wait to see how this thing progresses and evolves.
Well, it's got my mind going. Now you can see, right? All the pieces are in place. Now it's connect the dots and refine it.
Yeah.
I mean, you really busted it out, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Let me come out and play in the toy box. You know, lately I've been doing a lot of like intense work on other people's stuff. So this was a nice change of pace, and I hate to say it, but I like this thing now. It's so kooky, it's just cool.
Eric, as usual, brought in a lot of fun, a lot of super creative ideas. I mean, we got the layout of a really weird project, and I'm just stoked to get on with this.
I don't think you'll mind accepting
Wow.
Ginger, my gift to you.
The ultimate disco helmet. Heck yeah, man, I appreciate it.
Give it a good home.
Righteous. Now I'm completely prepared. I mean, next time I go to the club, my fashion is gonna be on point. And I could just get some work done if need be as well. Eric and I got a lot done in a short period of time, and I let the dust settle and stood back and took a look. We both agreed that this needed some improvement. This curve and the rake of the chop, it just looked a little too open to me. I feel like it should be even, or maybe just a little low in the back. At this point in the build, a few subtle changes, dare I use the word subtle, can change the whole thing, the whole feeling of it. This was out here, right? Look, it's like tight and loose. And now, whoosh, it's a little more delicato. A lot of times in building cars, I get caught up in all the inspiration and tend to not focus on some of the potential roadblocks. This just happens to be one of those situations. I was thinking about these taillights. I kept mocking up that other one and realized it's from a different year. These fins, I think, are earlier. Look at that. I didn't realize, but hey. So I'm gonna try to remove the reverse light and maintain this chrome and the little cool reflector that one was lacking. Given a choice between practicality and inspiration, I will choose inspiration 100% of the time. I still love that reflector. We're gonna have to do something to maintain that. The whole key here, especially with Eric's collaboration, is to find that inspiration, because the motivation flows from that. When you got a mission, everything else just follows. Now our issue is this. Got this big hunk of plastic that don't fit. Ain't nothing in life that's free. Just gonna take some doing. This is just how the cookie crumbles in the land of full custom. You need to adapt and overcome. Most people would just get taillights that fit. Nope, just cut the car just right. Now the bottom part, I'm gonna fit out with a piece of this flat bar. That'll give it a good landing spot. Last piece to the puzzle is the little jewel. I like that. You know, it definitely looks like a real car part and not just kind of an add-on. In the end, this difficulty with the lens fit up worked to my advantage. I feel like the smaller lens added to the design of a thinner rear fender, and that's good for a smaller car. That's the story of car building. You know, you get one side that looks good, but then there's inside and then the outside of the other side. It's all got to be symmetrical. Then the big question of what's going to happen in the engine bay. Our beach buggy rental is one step closer to being open for business. I still got a few tricks up my sleeves before we hit prime time. Been working on this sheet metal and I got it pretty much dialed in. Both right and left taillight are mocked up, and then the structure put back in the roof. Got that look I was going for. Sort of like the front fenders are jutting. I want the rear fenders to do the same. Just like with the nose of the car, you see the center being its own thing with these two structures on each side, and I want to follow suit with the rear end, however that works out. It's a pretty ridiculous change. Right up my alley. Yeah, the engine, I want it to be a focal point, but it's just something about this just cavernous surround. I'm not sure. I'm going to start at the bottom here. I know I want exhaust poking through that roll pan, and I thought at first I was going to use this. But when I mocked it up, I saw that all the gear was outside the car pretty much. The big spaghetti bundle in the back, right? I also had this other two-tip dealie. It's kind of classic. It's kind of not complicated. It's kind of sandy. Exhaust makes a huge statement in every car, so I'm trying not to overdo it. As radical change as the body is, it's a pretty, like, mellow style. Pretty simple, pretty discreet. Maybe seeing, you know, like a large tube that comes around and just frames it. All right, so this is first thoughts. I'm using this really large radius on the car. You're only gonna see from here to here. So the tube doesn't actually exist. You're just seeing this nice curve. right. And I found these really tight little bends. They're from a handrail. Wide open, baby. Anything could happen. Always looking for parts, right? I did a bunch of hole sawing on some steel plates, so I saved those. I modified some seats, so I saved those tabs. I'm at this guy's house, and he's like, hey, do you need some bends? Always looking for that shape that might be the fix. Believe it or not, I'm not the only one. I've been given some pretty weird creations over the years. It's a real cannon. It shoots golf balls. It's made out of a leaf spring, a piece of tube, and it shoots golf balls. You put the fuse in here. Maybe we need to like mount this on the back of the car. It could be endless hours of enjoyment for the dogs fetching balls. I wouldn't even have to leave the driver's seat. I digress. So I'm just gonna tack this on so I can put some sheet metal and start to secure it. The whole thing here is just to maximize the dramatic proportions I can gain from the position of the fenders and the engines. Trying to just like create the look of the tailpipes, depth in the body, make it more exotic. I don't think any bumpers on this car. The front has so much character, it would take away from it. And now the back is getting that same kind of flow where the center is projecting a little bit. Love the shapes, lots of dimension. But there's just something about this back end that just needs a little extra. Originally, Eric and I were talking about having it wide open so you could see the engine, but something about these two side areas, it just looks like, I don't know, I want to do something with the back. I was just thinking about the back end of cars, right? And I'm like, wait, we hacked apart this Metropolitan and I used pieces of it on this other project, but the whole trunk and rear portion of the center of the car, exactly what I need for this, is laying in the back of the shop. This was the area where the spare tire hung, so I had cut that out. But I was like, look, there's the window where you can look into the engine. And should you need to get in and mess with something on top, you got a lid to get in there too. Look at that. Talk about serendipity. I got two words, surf and safari. All it's gonna take is a little bit of everything. It's the little corkscrew twist trick. It worked. I always get that quirky little smirk when something's starting to get really weird. It's almost at that moment. I'm gonna cut this out of steel and then use a shrinker to just make a nice transition around that corner. But it's got these little teeth that munch. See that? With metalwork, there is munching, crunching and bunching. All advanced technique as far as I'm concerned. There's two things you can do with metal. You can shrink it or you can stretch it. This process does both. Munched and bopped to perfection. Very interesting. There's something about this surface coming over the engine. Initially, I was saying exposed engine, but putting this in place, it's like the double decker adds something to the car. It gives it like a more enclosed feeling. But I definitely want to see engine through that. What's gonna really set that look in place? We're really onto something with this rear end design, but I think it just needs something more to call it complete. Before we get any further along, I want to spend a little time on the bodywork and see how it's feeling. There's nothing like a little elbow grease to get things headed in the right direction. I like to really get the heavy aspects of the filler in place, that way you're not looking at all these welded seams. You've got the inside gap of the hood opening all detailed in, and the VW body line into the Studebaker is coming along pretty good too. A little hammer and dolly work and some filler. Never knew what went on back there. The missing link is this hole I cut in the back of the body. It had kind of like a Continental kit. So this, is sat in the car like that with a vertical spare tire. I don't need a spare tire on the back, but the look of the Continental kit was pretty cool. It's this point in the process where the whole view really comes into play. Of course, the wheel and tire combo mean everything. So this is what I'm using for all 4 rims. Real simple setup. I got the Smoothie steel wheels with the moon cap with no VW logo and just a trim ring like that. So it got me thinking about the Continental kit. This back here, sort of looking like a Continental kit, but it pops off so you can access the carburetor, distributor, generator, etc. I mean, that sounds great in theory, but like, okay, well, here I am dangling 2 items in space. How it actually happens is where the story begins. I got this rim over here, Chevy. Trim ring fits it perfect. I don't want the rim though. I don't want this blocking the airflow. I just want it wide open. So I'm thinking about making a couple tabs that will bolt in or screw in under the trim ring, mimicking the look of the original Studebaker. It's got kind of the cross with the chrome dome in the center, right? So what if I made 4 little wire supports that screwed onto that ring in that pattern, paint them black. This thing kind of appears to be floating, but still front and back the same. Enough theorizing. I mean, let's see you make it happen already. Your hands aren't even dirty. You can drill and screw right into that. The old X marks the spot trick. Now I'm just gonna tack weld this hubcap right to it. That gives us the potential for our floating hubcap. Now we remove the rim. The whole concept with this is that I feel like it should look like magic, right? It's just a floating disc in the center of this hole. There's always a tell to every magic trick. This is how I'm gonna do it. Yes. That's just dumb enough to call my own. I love it. Feels like the right vibe. It's like, this isn't wild engine exposed hot rod. It's kind of like wacky taxi. It's a little shade canopy of a roof, and it's got to be something that's just like, whoa, did you see that car? Yeah, all the weirdos drive them. Or at least one weirdo drives it. All right, now for the arts and crafts hour. I like that. Let's make 2 of these and adapt. I'm just gonna get this bottom part set, and I'm just gonna cut it into place as I go. I'm pretty straight ahead once I got that hard curve established. I just came in and squeezed it and buttoned it right up. A little welding, a little grinding, plug them back in place. The old floating hubcap trick. Moving right along, it's getting weirder as it goes. This thing has got the revered double cool factor. This design not only looks cool, but it keeps the engine cool as well. Just like so many of my other projects, this thing's like a Hot Wheels. It's a big toy car, you know what I'm saying? It's just exactly that. It's like, whoa, what the heck is going on here? Next up is the paintwork. I got some ideas, and that really does bring it all together. Bombay Beach, here we come. I got this beach buggy all wrapped up and set for its maiden voyage. Super stoked with the way it came out. You know, the mashup with the Studebaker and the VW, it's convincing. And even out here, you know, it's a VW, it's light. It cruises right across the sand, no problem. All right, this thing's a runner. I mean, not the beach, but in my imagination, I'm already there. It's pure paradise. Life is what you make it. You live the dream, you become the dream. Like, it's really all how you perceive things. I mean, anything's possible. There used to be water here. It's just low tide. Comes in once a year. This is pretty much where it's at for me. I mean, that's why we built the car. Beach theme. Like we said, Erie Eric's Beach Buggy Rentals. Cruised on down to the surf spot. You got the sand, you got the sun. That's 2 of the 3. I mean, all we need is some tasty waves. Southern California surfboards. Goes together like me and Volkswagens. In all seriousness, you know, there was a ton of body work to finish out on this. My friend Jamie helped me block sand and body work the whole car. I love the vintage flats paint. Not a lot of flair. I just got 2 gallons of white and I mixed in green toner to come up with that seafoam, classic kind of beachside color. One of the iconic wagons in the world is the Chevy Nomad, so I used a similar flow where the paint checks off of the pillar and comes forward in a spear. Not a perfect representation of that, but you definitely get the inspiration. From the onset, the only thing I saw was the bullet nose and the Cadillac fins. Everything else was the collab between Eric and I. That's what you end up with. I mean, it really was just throw down, showdown, and here we are, painted. But somehow, it works. That's one reason I love collaborating with Eric so much, is because he's a pro, he knows how to do things. He also likes to get weird, you know? And that's what we really did in this. It was just like, hey man, let's get down and try something crazy. That back end was a monster. Inside curves are one of the hardest things to bodywork, and I'm gonna blame that all on Eric. He got the glory, I got the lack of fingerprints. Sort of retro, sort of atomic age, definitely cartoon. It's got a jet engine symbolized, it's got fins, it's got a bullet nose like a rocket. I dubbed the Starlux. That's the most satisfying thing in the end, is to see it actually function. So instead of just being a mock-up and then it goes away, no, it's like, it's turnkey. It works. Can it be detailed? For sure. But that satisfaction of just seeing the silhouette, seeing finished paint and driving, that's good for me. The journey of this car is still unknown. Interior, hot rod engine, anything could happen. End result of this isn't something that's just like out of control, crazy cartoon like I do so many times, but it's just kind of like a cool weirdo cruiser. I think this is weird with a smile. Out here at my friend Bill's place, he said, hey, come by. Guess what? I got another truck. You know Bill, he's a truck guy. He just can't quit the habit. Here he goes again. Bill and I have done a ton of projects together. I could see a cycle, like he's improving with every one. Each project comes from a better starting point. He usually manages to get his hands on some interesting stuff, and this truck's no different. Wow. It's even got that old truck smell. That's a unique rust pattern. Usually it's down in here. Usually you see all this gone. It says 61,000 miles on it. I might just believe that. Look at that, never hit, never painted, never known nothing. In a quest to live my life by the true metaphors of the universe, I will not judge a book by its cover, but I will give it a thorough once-over and then cast my judgment. This is like, yeah, barn find potential. Yeah, and in the rear, it's more of the same, just good, wholesome truck. In this day and age, to walk up on a vehicle that is in the unmolested, unchanged status, it's pretty unique. Hello, sir.
Mr. Russell, my favorite fabricator.
Wait, you mean there's others?
No, I just have you. That's all I need.
Okay, cool. This is quite a charmer, huh?
Well,
talk about a barn find.
One family owned
Huh.
since '62.
Wow.
A friend of mine found it, and I went to look at it and just had to have it.
Yeah, I could see why. I mean, it's in great shape.
They started messing with the top and didn't prime it, didn't do anything, and of course,
So they actually did cut that open.
I guess.
Okay, because I was like, this doesn't add up. It doesn't look like your typical rust. Seeing the rust damage on this, it's really impossible to know what's going on under the surface. The openings in this one are curious to me. Anybody that knows rust knows that this is just the tip of the iceberg.
everything seems to work. 3-speed with an overdrive.
Nice.
Most people looked at the roof and said, boy, that's bad. I looked at the roof and said, where's Ian?
You know a guy with a welder, don't you?
Yeah.
Remember that old commercial, Mikey Likes It? Well, this is sort of like that, but it's Ian Can Fix It. It's never a dull day. There is something to be said, like the time machine scenario, right? Because
Yeah.
it's a real deal 62 Ford.
Yeah. I don't know, it just stole my heart when I saw it. I liked everything about it, and so here we are.
Yeah, in stock form, these trucks are great. I had a 64. It was a Mercury. It was from Canada.
Oh,
It was the unibody style, but I mean, just had the V8, had all the stock stuff, and it just drove great. I'm feeling the Survivor vibes on this thing, definitely. I mean, there's something to be said for like retaining the actual, showroom feel, just rolling down the road in a bit of a time capsule. Plus, I know Bill, and sometimes, in fact, most times, it's better to ease him into custom action.
interesting, they call this a custom cab.
It's a full custom kit.
Now, I don't know what that means.
When we're done with it, it's going to be a custom cab.
Yeah, it needs a little Racel. I like the drip rail. If you could keep that, I'd really.
Yeah, I mean, I got some ideas already about that roof skin, but the primary factor is to get in there and stop that rust on the interior panels, because that's starting to get pretty chunky.
I'm always excited when you come to work on my projects. I never know exactly where you're going.
That makes two of us. One of my favorite things about visiting with Bill is he's always got a rotating stock, and it would not be a trip to Bill's without a quick tour around the neighborhood. What's going on with that?
Well, the panel trucks, 46 Chevrolets, both of them,
Wow.
real projects.
Huh.
I mean,
Need everything.
everything.
Okay.
There's a lot of potential there.
No doubt. It
That's
just,
for
as
sure.
you say, it's literally strapped together.
Yeah.
Fine piece of machinery. There's something about being a car guy where when the opportunity presents itself, how could you say no?
That's a 1930 Pontiac. It's all there. It's got wooden spoke wheels.
Oh, cool. It's a hot rod disc, kind of like doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Potential for the museum parade car.
Yeah.
And what the heck is this thing? Now you're talking my language.
One of the guys that works here part-time, Danny, is building that.
Even got a motor on it. I mean, nothing says outlaw like a motorcycle with no license plates. Let's run it. I got one word, man. Chingon. Yeah, I mean, these are definite long-term potential, but let's stick to the order at hand.
I agree.
I'll get some ideas together on that unit down there, and we'll just keep thinking about these.
I like it.
Yeah. There's a few different ways about going forward on this particular project. Looking back through my mental Rolodex, I remember a friend of mine has something that just might work.
It's a 62 F100 four-wheel drive. It originally belonged to a good friend of mine that I was a sailor with.
Uh-huh.
And we used to drive this thing out in the desert, boondocking, yank the engine out, and I've pretty much been sitting on it ever since.
Every truck's got a story, man. I love the bumper. I love the roll bar. Super cool. That's what we're looking for, 100%. Look at that, even comes with extra windshield wiper. We're in business.
I guess I should have done some pruning, huh?
Door hinges, the door jambs are all perfect. Look at that. And that's the driver's door. Usually they get beat up and worn out.
It's been doing more sitting for the last 40 years than operating.
Every parts search, I'm always looking for something fairly specific. And this truck doesn't have a lot to offer. It's fairly bare bones, but it's got just what we need. Yeah, we got a lot of rust in our truck up in here and some of the inner panels. This thing, I don't even think it ever got rained on, huh?
No rust out in the desert. I'm glad I'm a desert rat.
If you're not that attached to it, we could do a little horse trading and
It's gonna have a new lease on life.
at least parts of it will. The one thing about dumpster diving is it's not as easy as picking something off the shelf. It looks like this rig is missing a critical element. It's got no rear axle. Well, I got my trailer.
Maybe we could lift it up and just drive the trailer, right under it.
It's always a new page opening, a new story unfolding. Things get kind of crazy in the Wild West. You're gonna have to pull them tires. Got this thing loaded up, heading back down the hill to Mr. Bill's. All right, twin trucks. Love these mirrors. The roof skin is pristine. That's the big deal on this. I didn't realize this is a long bed. That's a short bed. Look at that, I could almost grab this one. Good thing we don't need the bed. Comparing these two side by side, it looks like this one has all the parts for the old cut and paste trick. I really do understand Bill's wish to keep this in like survivor mode. So I'm gonna try to do as minimal cutting into the body as possible. Maybe we'll be able to swap a little parts. Make one better truck out of two. Let's see what happens. I want to get right into it. Cut into old orange, roll the dice, see what the future holds for us. Fortunately, there's enough trust floating around that allows me to proceed as I desire. Yeah, the first step is just like an exploratory cut. I'm gonna try to just make it look like nothing happened. I just want to see how bad the rust is inside. It's like sands through the hourglass. No cancer in here, it's just surface rust. So I'm assuming what happened was the moisture just got inside, started rotting it from the inside out, but none of the structures is rotten. That's the good news. What's the bad news? I don't know yet. Let's get a wire brush and see what's happening. I was really concerned about how the drip rail rotted away, but see, that inner part, there's no cancer there. With custom vehicles, that's a big point of contention, to use or not the drip rails. This one's gonna look stock, it's gotta have them. It looks like the orange truck's drip rail is out of commission, but fortunately the donor vehicle has everything perfectly intact. California dreaming right there. That doesn't happen on the East Coast. That's good to weld to, and this is much less rusty than I thought. See, Ian, regardless of what you say, even you get lucky sometimes. One of my thoughts was that if it's rotten in here, then it gives me every excuse to chop the top, right? Because, hey, you're gonna cut the pillar anyway. But I think Bill, in his conservative mindset, is going to appreciate this, just like nothing ever happened. Once you get into the 60s model years with the curved glass and it's got different body lines, I feel like they're a bit less in need of a chop top. The earlier ones, they kind of had the baseball cap look, right? Kind of a flat front-ish with a big tall center, and the 60s kind of smoothed it all out. Well, this is one of those unique opportunities when you get to paint stuff that's inside the vehicle, because we got the cap off. So I have this rust converter. This product's called Pour 15. It claims to convert rust into something that won't rust anymore. That's been successful for me. But you can see all this business inside is in darn good shape. While that's drying, let's get started on the slice and dice on this parts truck. I think I'm gonna salvage this windshield first. See if Mr. Bill's got a cutting tool around here. Unlike old orange, this window's in great shape. Hoping to get a 1-2 combo out of this. A windshield, a roof skin, plus a side of fries coming right up. Yeah, this window's definitely been replaced sometime. Doesn't have the chrome like the other one. So it's the aftermarket rubber strip. Give it up, give it up. Yeah, once you get these rubber seals up to about 300 degrees Fahrenheit, the desert's stunned. They start to stick pretty good. There it is. I know what you're thinking. Wow, Ian, you didn't break the glass. Well, I can be delicate too, you know. So on this one, I'm just gonna take the entire roof cap right off and then start to hog out from the inside, the exact reverse of what I did on the other truck. I think I just found an excuse to make that roadster pickup truck I've always wanted. That back window doesn't look like it's the same flow. Old habits die hard. What can I say? One farm fresh roof skin. Let's get that truck out of here. Let's take out this ancient artifact. Yeah, look at that, rust free. That is the desert, ladies and gentlemen. I want to leave the drip rail, but remove the structure. So I think I'm gonna take the disc and put it in this way now. Now that the skin's on the table, I can trim away everything I need using my patented surgical precision. So now you have all the structure of the truck intact with this front windshield surround preserved on the other vehicle. As long as those folks at Ford used the same tools to make these two roofs, we're gonna find out. I did all the prepping I could in 2 stations. It's time to put it together and see if it fits. Well, hot dog, if that don't fit like a Ford roof skin should. The two-tone is pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that, but it brings out the bumper, the white and white. Looks like a creamsicle. There's just so much to be said for the factory stamped sheet metal. It fits identical, it fits perfect. And the patina, the color of the paint, actually works great as well. See how this roof has a little clip on it? And then there's still one remaining on the truck. So that's your front alignment right there. Both of these vehicles were prepped out more conservative than the final fit up. So now that the pieces are kind of stacked, just the last bit of trim and nip to make it happen. The process at this point is welding it together and just trying not to burn too much paint off. It's gonna get hot on top for sure, but you know, you're only gonna see the seams around the backside. The front welding is buried in the rain gutter with the sealer that'll go in there. I'm feeling good about this swap. You know, I still got a few tricks up my sleeve to make Old Orange come full circle. Got the roof skin buttoned up right on time. Here comes Mr. Bill on his trusty green steed.
Master Russell, how is my orangey red truck?
It's a little more like your white hat at the moment. Check out the new cap on this sucker.
Oh my gosh, you put a whole new roof on it.
Correct. And look at the drip rails. I changed those too.
Perfect. Yeah.
I didn't think you wanted to repaint the whole truck, right?
No.
Just give it a
No,
detail, yeah. Do a little touch up around where they welded, and
Yep.
it looks like it was always that way.
That is terrific. White top, I never even thought of that. You made a real truck out of this. That is just great.
It's good to see Bill excited on the progress. This kind of change is right in line with what he likes. You know, I did major surgery, but it looks like not much went on.
When I saw the donor truck parked in my driveway, I thought, wonder what Ian's got in mind.
Plots thickening. So the good news about that truck is it's got a lot of pieces. I noticed your parking brake was broken. It's got all the interior mechanisms for the doors. It's got a brand new windshield in it. So you got a few good things out of that.
Oh, that's awesome. We'll pick it apart like a chicken.
One thing that was bugging me is the fact that there's no rear bumper, you know? It's like, well, it's got a front, but there's no rear. You know, if it had a trailer hitch or something, it would add up, but it's just blank sheet metal. But I was thinking something a little more classy, a little more style to it, you know? I'm rooting through my own part stash, and I think I might just have one thing to solve this dilemma. It's a pretty generic looking shape, but it's got that interesting rise.
It still has the same arch as that. It's just enough to be a bumper.
I'm not sure what this came off of. I almost feel like it was on a car sitting like that.
Yep. So what are you gonna, just bolt it on and then look at it from this side?
You think I got a plan? Come on.
Have at it.
I really do like the back of the sheet metal on this truck. You put the bumper in at the height of the lower portion of the quarter panel and it just flows right out. With a utility vehicle like a truck, a pickup truck, the bumpers are literally just that. They're for bumping into things, not much style put into it. So trying to make this look a little bit better, the body lines of the truck have so much to offer, I want to minimize the bumper impact. I'll use this line in the truck as a reference and set that side into position and see how far away this line got from that line. And that's how much we'll narrow it. You can see how high-tech this is. I mean, no expense spared in the rigging and jigging in this operation. So we got these brackets in here, and I don't want to mess with that because that's our welding on potential. We're going to narrow it in this vacant area through here. mini bumper. Got this really high-tech straight edge out of Bill's toolbox. Fortunately, this bumper is the same dimension all the way through, but it's important to get it straight when you're aligning it for welding. Such a clean-looking design to bunch it up with welds or any other modifications would take away from it, so it's got to be a seamless mod. This is pretty cool. These bumpers mounted flat up on the panel, and they're going to do the same on this truck. Can't argue with that. Now it's like, oh yeah, look at the truck body, and then the bumper, just a little accessory. Simple, hang that license plate just down a little bit. I think that's the most that this bumper has to offer, is that it kind of smooths the line between those cheeky quarter panels under the taillights and just a bland flat cross panel on each side of the license plate. It shows you the old nip and tuck. Sometimes it's the answer. Paint that white, call her done. This thing is definitely making progress. It just leads to think, what's next? I'm gonna think about that for a minute. We're out here in Pomona, Fairplex at the first annual Grand National Truck Show. Anything goes, kind of like an open invite. As long as it's a truck, come on down. When my friend first told me about this show, he's like, you gotta be there, man. It's the first time all truck invitational. I was like, truck, yeah, let's go. But the big question is the El Camino a car or a truck? It's still yet undecided. I say this all the time, we are so spoiled in Southern California. I mean, this show starts at the gate, in the parking lot, walking in, all the way through. This thing is unique. I love this bed cover. Who knows what year that's from, 40s, probably. It's steel, super cool. Yeah, the whole thing with coming out here is just to see like what's going on. If I could bring something to the table that would get Bill excited, that's what I'm all about. This guy's one of my favorite fabricators going, Slim. He built some crazy stuff. And this van is like a wheelie popping machine, as evidenced by the giant engine in the back. The Highway Patrol loves to see this stuff on the street, so I'm sure that's why he did it, just to support the local law enforcement. Vans, trucks, you name it. Look at this yellow beast. Look at that face. Wow. 1950. There's something to be said for a vehicle that's as tall or taller than me when it's laid right on the ground. This thing. There's something about the cab overs, you know? It's the ugly duckling turning into a swan scenario, truly. These things are just big utility things, kind of ugly, kind of weird, but lowered down and customized, they are something.
Is this your truck?
I wish.
Oh.
I love it. Obviously, this thing's full custom, but the body started off as a 40 Ford cab over. Everything's modified. Super nice. I love how they pulled the rear axle so far back.
I know you get this all the time, but
Hi.
I just want to shake your hand.
Cool, man. Good to see you. Is yours? Super nice. Super nice.
You're a legend.
Thanks, man. Love the rims, too. Look at that. That's a big one. Take your big surfboards to the beach on that one. Trucks like this just really do prove that the survivors, you know, there's a strong love for trucks in general, but when you see one that's pretty much intact and original, it's just like, that's worth showing. Never been painted, never been wrecked. It can't be stressed enough, there's something about the real deal, and that's what a survivor represents. Look at this 1980s fantasy machine. Look at how many shocks this has. I can't even count that high. It's got shock absorbers for the shock absorbers. Hot pink boots. Come on. This is the heartbeat of America right here. Look, it's got a cell phone and a television. This is modern. And this truck has it all. Suspension's crazy modified. It's body dropped. Can't really get much lower than that. I probably couldn't even fit in there. At a show with this wide of a range, there's no way to pick a favorite. I mean, it changes minute by minute, actually. Everybody's got their own vibe, right? So it's like, well, who would take a really cool Blazer-style vehicle like that and put so much effort and love, and meanwhile, somebody else is like, I want my truck as low as possible. I'm gonna mold the bed so it's barely even a truck anymore. I mean, huge amount of work to make this thing. Huge C-notch in the back, bunch of old barnwood. It's rad. This thing's serious business. It's barely even a truck anymore. This thing's a race car. This is cool. This reminds me a lot of the truck I did for Bill, where it's just like, truck this early never existed as a sliding ramp truck, you know? It's just like, wait, something's wrong. To me, it's all artwork. It's 100% a feeling. Wow, look at this. I love it. It's just like, I like that. It says 1925 Ford Model T. Zippy T. Super, super neat. Just the proportions are total cartoon. It's great. So that's just the parking lot outside. The actual show is in here. The theme here is sort of like the Amber Award, the America's Most Beautiful Roadster. This is the world's most beautiful truck. So all the trucks in this area, they're up for the big award, and you could see, I mean, it's no holds barred. Seemingly no expense spared. These guys, or gals, or whoever, have got some serious dedication. This is my gig, right? This is my living. I know what it takes to bring vehicles to this level of finish. And it's not one, there's hundreds, possibly thousands, all lined up, all primo. It makes me wonder why I'm sitting here talking instead of some of these other cats. Oh yeah, now we're talking. Look at the color on this. Wow, Diamond T. Man, this thing's a huge amount of work. Just crazy cool. This is pretty close to the truck Bill has. This is the unibody, but very similar. You see the shape of the roof and a lot of the body lines are similar, but this one is full on. I mean, just like these trucks, right? You got all different shapes, sizes, ages, and the fans are the same. Especially being close to home at a car show like this, and there's so many people, and they're just like, yeah, dude, love the show, keep on trucking. See what I did there? Truck yeah. Well, you know I'm a bit biased, but I mean, it is a truck, right? That's why it's here. It's got all the goodies. I love this. I mean, I love the Peterbilts, I love the Kenworths, the flat face ones, anything like this. Just look at this thing. It's like a freaking building standing in front of you. You just tell them Large Marge sent you. My favorite thing is to walk around looking for that one thing I haven't seen before. And I see this curved glass, you know, quarter window pickup truck, and they pop out. They're ventilated. I don't know much about accessories, but that one's new to me. Wait a second. Is this thing even a truck? I think they're bending the rules a little bit here. It was a truck. I mean, 1923, this was a truck. Oh, look at this thing. I don't even know what to say. It is a Suburban, 1955. When they're stock, it's something, but when they're stock and lowered, forget about it. Look at this thing, man. I mean, king of the boulevard. Super cool. This rig is pretty stealthy. In talking with the fellow that put it together, it's got so many things done to it. The hood has been nosed down a bit. He's got flush mount windows in the sides. He's got cameo taillights on it. It's a really subtly radical vehicle. All I can say is I think I just found my element. This little corner of the room is where it's at. Ah, look at this van. Hey Jeff, good to see you. Hope you watched the show. I mean, did you even grow up in the 70s if you don't know about Evel Knievel, who dared to jump the Snake River Canyon? This actually reminds me a lot of my Uncle Frenchie's van. I keep this with me every day. Look at that, seeing that as a 10-year-old boy with the pirate on the side. He had the cedar interior, he had a cannon in the door, he had the CB where you could talk out of the front grille. I saw Uncle Frenchie's van and I was knocked out. I was like, you guys are building this in the garage? All I could say is like, he was just a cool cat. You know, all my father, my uncles, they're all relatively, you know, workaday kind of guys, family guys. And Uncle Frenchie was like, I'm building a custom van. I was like, yes. Little did he know the monster he created, following in your footsteps, sir. If you gotta sum up trucks in general, this show is it. So it's got my brain spinning. It's just a vibe, you know, spend a day in Truckville. This gathering was next level. I can't imagine what's gonna happen next time. It's time to get back to the lab. Anybody home? Speaking of trucks, out of the blue, I get a call from my friend Tom. This project and I have a little bit of unfinished business.
Hey,
How's
Ian.
it going?
How you doing?
I know you said you made some progress, but wow.
It's a driver. It runs.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Cool, cool.
It runs really good too.
This thing looks great. It's a 1942. It was a military truck, a long bed, just a big utility vehicle, and he got a little wild with it. He shortened the entire chassis, bobbed off the bed. I did a chop top, little hot rod 6-cylinder engine. He's like, no, it's not a hot rod. It's not a street truck. It's a toy. Think of it as a giant toy truck. All I could say was, yeah, you're preaching to the choir, sir. I gotta say, I do love the big puffy tires, but these are cool too. Like you're saying, it's like the model kit where it's dual purpose, right?
The truck is going to be this color right here. See the yellow in there?
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm actually thinking
That's a
about
bold
putting
choice.
fenders on it too, so that there's a little bit of color down here too.
Well, again, like you're saying, it's dual purpose, right? So if you're taking it to the dunes, you take all that business off, take the street trim off and put the buggy trim on, right?
Yeah.
I love the bed, man.
Had a friend of mine who was an excellent body man. He went ahead and cherried the bed out for me, and
Yeah, cool deal. When Tom called, he said, hey man, just a few little pieces to wrap up. And I thought, hey, perfect timing. I am knee deep in the truck business. All it's missing is a rear bumper. I see what you're saying.
my idea is like a Nerf bumper. You know what I'm talking
Sure,
about? It's
yeah.
rounded ends on it, and it's from the 50s. I think the late 50s, early 60s, and it was, I think, originally from a race car, the backside of a race car, because they didn't have starters in them. They used to push start them.
Well, I remember these were 1.5 rounds, so I just brought some 1.5 tube
Okay,
and some bends, and maybe we'll just come up with an idea.
okay. You're the artist, man. I'm
Well, let's not overstate things.
the.
I'd like to see this thing run. Are you gonna pull it in?
Sure.
Heck yeah. It's got the twice pipes. It is exactly like the toy that he was describing. I mean, he was talking about these magazines and showing me different model kits, and I'm like, yeah, dude, like that's exactly what it would look like in the 60s, no doubt. Hold on, never mind this truck. Look at this thing. This is the real deal.
That was given to me.
What?
It's a hot rod from the 30s.
Oh, wow.
During the war, they made a truck out of it for
Like
rations.
so many other ones, right?
Yeah, for war rations, yeah.
In World War II, there were gasoline rations, and as I understood, you could get more if you drove a truck. The car's been lowered a bit. It's been chopped pretty significantly, and just a really nice touch with the windshield and convertible top. And it's got that weird back end. I mean, it is technically a truck.
I think it's been chopped at least 4 inches.
At least, look
Yeah,
how low that
yeah.
is. I mean, this gas tank is obviously not original. That's
Yeah, first thing I always do if I get a car is I get it running and driving.
Yeah. Crazy when an antique like this just runs.
It's cool. This thing here, we're okay with. That's the one we need to work on.
Yeah, I agree. I brought some tubes. Let me show you the bends I got. This, right? That's just about where you want to be. It really fills out the back of the truck. Right, so this would come in and turn down below the license plate. And then the bottom part would reverse like that.
Yeah, just put a little spacer in there, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's a great idea, Ian, right there.
After laying out a few ideas, it seems like we got a good jumping off point with these large bends. That would look pretty cool, no?
No, I like it. No, I like it, yeah.
You heard the boss. Commence the building, Captain. That's the first part of it. It's gonna need 2 vertical bars where the chassis grabs this bumper, so if we do that, that'll keep it locked. Not only will the vertical bars support the bumper hoop, they will act as the mount to the chassis. And to my eye, the spacing looks like it can be improved on. So our chassis is as wide as this, right?
Yeah.
I feel like if we have our uprights this close to the end, it's gonna look funny, but the closer we can bring them into center, it'll look more proportional with our little detail in here, you know?
Yeah.
You know, we could favor it out to here. How do you feel about that?
I'll be honest with you, I have no
Are you
idea.
all right?
You're losing me, Ian. Usually you don't lose me, but you lost me.
This happens every time, man. See, my mind thinks in obtuse dimensions. My workflow style is purely alone. So I get a good idea in the heat of the moment, I execute it. I guess the flip side of that is not really being able to describe myself that well. No, dude, we're just gonna do this, that, and the other thing. It's gonna be fine, trust me.
This bumper's coming out cool. I'm liking it.
It's more art than it is function, right?
That's what I said, you're an artist, man. Oh yeah, look at that. That
It's
is
not
cool.
such a big high boy now.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
drops it down a little bit.
I like it. I like that, yeah.
Good answer. The other answer might not.
I almost don't want to open it up now. What the heck? Let's hang the plate in there and see what happens.
It might be pretty slick if the plate just floated, like it didn't even attach to the bumper, you know? It was off the chassis just sitting there with a cool frame around it.
Man, now you're confusing me, Ian. What the heck?
Joe Schmo's Raceway, see you on Saturday. And that's kind of why I wanted to start this, because it's like, man, that has such a uniform, you know, feel to it. Would this have like a lot of busy metalwork on it because it's such a simple truck? I don't know.
Yeah.
This is all part of the creative debacle. I mean, once you change one thing, you sometimes got to change everything. Just like with the back, we made some progress, but in the front, like anything's possible, man. Style-wise, think about it. I mean, we could do another mini tube bumper like that for the front. Could be V'd out, could be a single tube. We could do 15 tubes. Anything can happen.
My mind's all over the place now because of that. It is.
Honest Ian's Bumper Building Service, here to consult and confuse on the daily. I gave Tom a bit of time just to give the old stare down and see how he's feeling about this bumper. If you want to keep this as we built it, then it's as simple as just attaching it to some mounts.
I like it just like it is.
I still think it looks like some kind of workout equipment or something.
It looks just like something Ed Roth would have built back in the 60s.
Straightforward enough. We could just make some nice brackets, you know, make it look discreet, like we were talking about maybe that floating license plate in the center.
I'm gonna wait until you've got that completely mounted before I even start thinking about the license plate. If it's centered down there, it may not be centered from here.
Now you're talking my language, like the great sculptors of days gone by. When the figure is on top of the building, the head is actually out of proportion. It's bigger.
Oh, yeah,
because you're
yeah,
looking at it
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
It's all so delicate. I mean, angles, distance, size. How could one possibly take it all in?
Well, actually, I'm just gonna have my wife come out and tell me that looks good. Bring it and do
Sometimes
it.
that works too.
Yeah.
Yeah, grab those 2 pieces of wood and let's clamp this thing back on. The old 2 fingers on the knuckle. There it is.
Yeah, that looks it right there.
So in the end, that's what it adds up to. 2 simple, discrete brackets welded inside and out.
No, I love that thing. It looks like something out of one of my old 60 hot rod magazines.
Agreed.
The surprise for me was the way you mounted it. I did not see that coming, and I like that. Way cleaner. You don't have all this busyness down here now.
Yeah. He likes it. By golly, he likes it.
Look at that bumper. You like the way the taillights are positioned?
Yeah, I mean, I love the traditional lights, but you know, what if there was like a round thing? That to me says like 60s.
Yeah. I kind of like that idea.
Do you have an old trailer light or anything laying around?
Oh, heck yeah. Do I got an old taillight hanging around? Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, that's like the time period too, man.
Yeah.
Right in there, just about centered.
Well, I may get custom on you, huh?
That's what I'm saying. If it was my truck, I'd have these taillights. In the meantime, I'm gonna get into this front bumper design and Tom's gonna hang the license plate. Well, since I have free reign, I could get obnoxious with it. Big Cadillac bumper with the Dagmars. I mean, anything's possible. Or, I was thinking like the 32 Roadster, traditional kind of look. You know, it's got that grille with the little peak in the front, so why overcomplicate things, right? Maybe just a little bar that comes to a V point that matches the angle of that grille. Just give it a little aggressive stance. I think in a lot of circumstances, the end result is just being simple. Sometimes less, a lot of times less is more. It's a little trick, that way it's just a hidden nut. Yeah, so it's just welded to a washer, set it in the tube like such. If all my calibrations are correct, this thing might just bolt on. Yeah, man, how about that?
I like it. Looks good.
Nice and clean, right?
Yeah, that's usually the best way.
Yeah, see, once you got that grill on, right? Boom, then you got that whole V shape really represented. Nothing like seeing a project in motion, especially at a distance, you know, you really get to take it all in. Heck yeah.
Oh, look at that bumper from here, man. It's cool.
It's really fun, you know, building a car, but it's driving them is when you really feel the flavor come out. And this one's got a ton of personality. This thing corners like a forklift. Look at the turns it does. Super fun.
I'm thinking of doing those taillights like you said.
Yeah, man, one piece at a time. You're closer than you were yesterday.
Oh yeah, I'm getting there.
Another satisfied customer. Now it's back to Mr. Bill's to see what's going on with Old Orange. Back out here at Bill's Ranch, and he says the truck is ready to rock.
Well, there's your pickup. Had my guys do a little work on it.
Yeah.
Doesn't it look great?
I love how they treated the paint.
Yeah, my faux guy does a good job.
Yeah, no kidding. Look at that roof. It's like it was never even changed.
Yep, the roof is perfect.
Cool job. It was really interesting to me how they kind of faux finished the front and rear bumpers to match the roof cap. Pretty slick stuff. Because when you open the door, it's like the dashboard and the top, they make a statement together.
Yep.
That's really what I was hoping for. There's something about the white paint, when I put that new skin on, it's just like, wow, it kind of brightens the whole truck up. It's interesting. By leaving that factory seam between the window and the roof cap and putting the weld in that nondescript area, slapping new drip rails on both sides, it worked out pretty clean.
Oh, it's great. Drip rails were non-existent.
Yeah.
You know, it makes these projects so much better if you have a parts or a donor. I mean, look at everything you got off that donor truck.
The big bonus here was the donor truck. Not only did it have the roof sheet metal and a couple other accessories, it had this pristine windshield in it as well. One other thing about the donor truck was it had these cool side view mirrors, and they just scream, you know, California custom truck scene from back in the day. Standing in the back of the truck looking forward, I would see these bumpers hanging out past the fenders, and I thought, well, we're really inside on the rear. We got to tuck that front in as well. This stamped line takes a hard turn right here, right? That looks cool. But then this thing is just kind of flying way out. What if we could get that bumper to match that as closely as possible? This is going to turn something like that. I think one of the goals with customizing is to make the vehicle more seamless, make it look like a lot less has been added on. This bumper does have a more molded to the body shape now than being accessorized. The key mandate with this from the start has been like old school, survivor, kind of stock, but different.
I love the back bumper instead of the big clunker commercial diamond plate thing that was on there.
The chrome was the only thing bothering me about this back bumper, so I love what they did. It just looks like it was always there. I don't even know where that came from. I can't wait for the person that tells you.
Yeah.
I love the wheels and tires too. It looks like it should be that way.
Yeah. It's just some subtle things you did, and it's a survivor. It's great. I love everything about it. I wouldn't change a thing. Sometimes it's better just to leave it alone. Hard for you to do.
I didn't say that, but it worked this time.
I want you to take it for a ride. It runs good.
I want to know what 1962 feels like.
There you go. Purrs like a kitten.
Sure does. This thing sounds good. The cool thing about this truck is it's got a V8 in it from the factory. This truck's got a lot of torque. Man, manual steering, manual brakes, roll-up windows. That's what's happening. It's interesting, you step into this thing and it's like a time machine. All of a sudden, Bill's telling me war stories from back in the day. He's having flashbacks. I tell you, 1962 was a mighty fine year.
Yes, sir.
I've driven a lot of different vehicles, but there's something about the pickup trucks in the 60s, they really hit a different stride. They went from this almost tractor style driving, like very archaic, to this thing, even with a solid axle, it's got smoothness and it's got power. I'm not sure what it is specifically about trucks, but it's kind of like the family dog, right? Where it's just like, it's always there, it's always reliable. It's just a unique thing. I gotta say, it's authentic, man.
Yeah, I think it's a keeper, Ian.
Bill is one happy customer, I gotta say. You could tell in the tone of his voice when he's satisfied and he's like, yeah, this is just what I needed. Everything about him has always sort of been the same way. He's like, not as wild as you, man. It's like, I like some cool stuff, I like custom stuff, but let's not get too far. It's interesting how things stack up. There was a lot of trucks going on in the past month or so, so I don't know, maybe I'm getting the itch. Might be time for one for myself. Temps in the high 90s, the breeze is just right. There's many ways to start a new project. You got a lot of considerations, a lot of thoughts. But you know, out here in the desert, I feel like all you really need is a couple good car parts and a dream. If you know me, you know I got parts laying around. It's just a matter of time till I start seeing configurations and possibilities. I gotta say, this is a pretty non-traditional horse ranch we got, so why not build a non-traditional roadster? It's a fiberglass body. It's already non-traditional, right? In my eyes, anything goes. I'm thinking about a hot rod roadster for the desert. I found some of just the right stuff. The rest is to be determined. I can only remember which way was north. My shop's around here somewhere. All this wandering around the desert can really wear a guy out. As you can see, I am in need of some transportation. Water. Water. Got a little body, got a little chassis, and I got an engine. This fine piece of Americana. Some folks say it's a 360, some folks say it's a 390. Universal agreement is it's a Ford FE engine from 1975. What do I know? It had some cool valve covers, so I bought it. What can I say? I like sparkly things. I mean, big old valve covers, sold. Next on the list of parts is this gem. 1991 Ford Ranger chassis, two-wheel drive. It's got this twin I-beam front suspension, really strong. They make awesome pre-runners. The rear suspension is soft. They ride great out in the Wild West. The 3 Fs, Ford, Ford, and Ford. This isn't my first foray into building a desert-inspired vehicle. I made Mr. T, which came out really cool. I built my wife Jamie this awesome dune buggy, and then of course, the Interceptor. It's something I've learned living out here. You need a vehicle that can take the bumps, they can get dirty, and keep on ticking. I mean, they all turned out really good, but this time I'm looking for something a little more purpose-built, but still with that funky style. Like most of my great ideas, it's not as easy as just putting together a puzzle. Body's definitely not designed to fit this chassis, and for me, of course, it's all about the look. Like, the wheelbase is radically different. I mean, this is a pretty noodly looking chassis here. It's all over the place. I mean, look at this roller coaster effect. I don't know where they came up with that or why. When you look at the Model A or T, it looks like a ladder. That doesn't bother me. I'm gonna put this body on, start making adjustments. That's the essence of hot rodding, right? Just do what you can with the stuff you got lying around. Well, the chassis is not too wide. Look how the wheel arch is so far away from where the tire is. Problem number 1. It looks like the body's gotta be sitting somewhere in that orientation. The wheelbase looks extremely long as well. You can see how much the chassis is hanging out of the back end of this rig. One of my main challenges at this point is to not cut the chassis. I don't want to disrupt the geometry of the way this thing was built from the factory. I gotta find a way to make it look good in stock form. Well, we know the body don't fit. Let's see how bad the engine mashup is. This truck would have a V6 or a 4-cylinder in it, and I'm stuffing a big old Ford engine in it. That's all about the mock-up stage, right? Just keeping an open mind. We're just kind of stacking parts as usual. So the stock engine would want to fit here, where this little cross member is. What if we took the engine, moved it rearward, and dropped it down so that it would be straddling that cross member back to the firewall, like it should be in a Roadster. And then you got the look of the hot rod with the tires out front, no? Not looking at the chassis, I'm just looking at this. Body and the engine have to look good together. I'm not looking at the front of the chassis or the rear of the chassis. It looks good. You might be wondering, Ian, are you suffering from heat exhaustion? Do you need glasses? The answer is yes, and probably yes. That engine works, like clears the cross member, it's very low. You know, what if I lowered the body? What if I notched it to kind of fit up with the engine again for that hot rod look? Ooh, that's looking better. You know, that don't look half bad. Puts a little rake in the body too. I was originally thinking I was gonna, oh man, I'm gonna drop that body right down over the chassis, but right away I'm thinking about hot rodding, right? So I'm like, oh yeah, channel the body over the chassis, get that ultimate look. But upon further investigation, maybe that's not the best idea. So right now, this is like the Flintstone special. The unfortunate aspect of channeling it is as the body comes down, the floor seemingly rises up, less interior room. Feels like you're in the car. If I'm sitting 10 inches higher, then all of a sudden you're out of the car. This is actually a running theme through pretty much every one of my projects. Shrink it down, it looks so cool, the tires look massive next to it, and then you put this big carcass in there and everything changes. I have to fit in it one way or another, and that's a pretty big task. I gotta try to fit my big fat task in this car. Being that this is an off-road desert car, I definitely wanna have some kind of canopy over me, and a roll cage is a great place to put that sunshade, so roll cage is a definite. But I'm thinking, what if I left the body up in the back and raked it even more in the front? Like, what if I took some off of the nose of this thing and just dropped it down? What if it sat on the car like that, but lower? It's starting to get a little funky attitude right there. Yeah, I'll put the valve covers up here. That's what you want to see, too. I think I just made up your mind. By cutting this back, like this body line, look, it would kind of transfer into this a little bit better. See, they're not perfectly parallel, but they're definitely more in agreement than they were. That way this just kind of rolls off and it shows the frame. I'll throw the dice, commit, and cut. Ooh. Maybe we drop the engine a little. I love the valve covers being up like that. This makes the engine look so much more pronounced. This is what I was hoping for, you know, just one quick move and that sets the whole project in motion. The last thing I had was this cool grill. You know what I'm saying? Something in this area, I don't know. This is gonna have some kind of off-road tires. You think I got everything in order before I start the project? Heck no. This is just the mock-up phase. We're on our way. All that's left to do is everything. Typical business at Rancho Russello. What this thing needs next is a little TLC, a little tender loving cutting. Got some ideas. We've got our initial mock-up in place. Now it's time to bring some envisioning to life, my favorite pastime. This is where I want the body to land for here, ever after. I'm really not happy with seeing this trailer hitch and all this cross member stuff. I'm gonna put a roll cage in it, but firstly, I wanna get rid of this rear cross member and replace it with a round tube. It'll look a little bit more race truck. The whole idea here is to make it appear like with a hot rod, you know, pretty much the tires are the main statement, not a bunch of extra stuff. You know, a truck would have bumpers, a tow hitch, none of that on this rig. Chassis rails are gonna stay because they're supporting the leaf spring perches. I'm gonna make the tube frame first and then cut all this out. For this part of the project and the rest of all the tubing fabrication, I'm using 1.5" with 1/8" inch wall, round tube. Probably not the stoutest choice for a serious off-road machine, but for this desert cruiser, it'll be perfect. The thing about off-road vehicles is like the functionality, these tube structures, that's the aesthetic. These things get tricked out. Some look super techy and some are more artsy. Mine would be more artsy, still looking techy. Yeah, see, that already looks more like a desert vehicle. Just a little spreader, put some support. In the words of every great welder, that ain't going nowhere. That looks a little more off-road appropriate. I really want to carry this aesthetic of the fabricated tube look through the entire project. That's really kind of the key to this off-road appearance. It's got to perform in the desert, it's got to look cool. So I got to thinking, Self, if you could build any kind of roll cage for this car, you wouldn't really follow the perfect CAD design of the ultimate structure, right? And I said, yeah, that's right. So why don't we curve some tubes to match the back of the car? So I did, and here it is. It has the potential to follow in the back of that car, does it not? But it'll also add something, the funk factor. So they don't turn down, they turn to wherever they land on the rear hoop, like that. So we spliced it with a straight shot. Does that look weird to you? Looks pretty weird to me. Let's carry on. In a perfect hot rod world, you'd have a chop top, right? But this isn't that type of thing. Headroom is gonna matter. Most of the time, it's all about the look, right? Like, I don't care if I'm crunched in there like a monster. But if you've been off-road and ever had the roll bar banging against your head for the entire ride, you change your mind about things. Principal factor in this look, because you think of a hot rod, chopped, channeled, lowered. This thing is pretty tall, and the roof, it looks to fit me, is gonna be even taller. Dang it. Why'd Mama make me so tall? Can't even build a cool dune buggy. I mean, that's fun buggy style for sure, but I don't know. That looks really tall. The real challenge here is to have a true roll cage, it's gotta protect your neck. And if it doesn't, then what is it? At the same time, you don't want it to look like, one of those big hi-hats. So I think what's gonna sell this is having the rest of the cage in place. Right now, it's just throwing me off because I'm thinking about like a Manx-style buggy where it just have one hoop over the back and that proportions everything. We're gonna have a structure. Did a little trimming and I cut down the overhead roll bars as much as I felt comfortable doing. I wanna get the rest of the cage structure in place and then see how it feels. So these little cuts here are called fish mouths because that's why. The whole idea here is it's adjustable. Right now, these little fish mouths will allow these bars to pivot, so just kind of centering some stuff. Once you start climbing in, and you're 6'2", so you can see this, right? It looks a little awkward, but this is me sitting right on the chassis, no seat. So what might help put it in proportion more, so maybe it doesn't look like it just has a big box stuck on top, is the rear bars. That's sort of what I was seeing back here. But the question is, where this doesn't just turn down to here, this is gonna come as a straight shot back to there. This is where the old duct tape helping hand comes in. So see, that's gonna hit there. Yeah, I could see that working. I'll plug weld outside of this join, and then it'll have this big, strong center. Very strong. So seeing those rear bars on there, it doesn't look so much like there's a big box stuck on top. You know, it's definitely tall, right? But it doesn't look so out of proportion with the body. You know, I want to cut the front of this off and then decide what the tubes do going back to the cage. But the steering box is going to be the limiting factor because it's ahead of this cross member. So you could see, got a big old steering box sticking out ahead of the thing. I guess I'll just keep it at that. I'll cut right to that box. Just like the back of the chassis stuck out so far, the front of this chassis is going to stick out as well. Sometimes limitations are a good thing. You know, we can all just dream of idyllic situations, but occasionally, you gotta work with what you got. But I think maybe a curve in the nose section, instead of coming down to a hard taper like that. I'm thinking maybe it'll have like a bend, you know, it'll just curve up and forward. Because I'm trying to make the front of the chassis look as minimal as possible. Yeah, so see, I was seeing something like that as the front of the chassis instead. And maybe I could pull that back to say here. And it gets that hard edge off the front of the chassis. That steering box is definitely a permanent install. We're gonna work around it. Oh yeah. Looks like a hood line now, albeit a long hood. At least it has some kind of a flow. Before I get the front part of the cage welded, I want to get the engine in. The positioning of the engine is pretty critical. This is what I was really trying to show off. Get that, I mean, these valve covers, they're not gonna be yellow in the end, obviously, but it lets me express my enthusiasm. I love the way that the valve covers are showing above the cage. It's got like an aggressive look, so I'm pretty charged up. It's all about flavor, right? It's time to get the old spice rack out, get to work. Just getting these tubes in place is really helping me with the proportion. You know, the roof height was a real problem for me, but now seeing this long stretched out front, you know, gives the tube chassis a little more proportion, I think. The rake being transferred down to the hood, it all looks like it's in alignment. The thing that's bugging me proportion-wise are these puny little trailer tires. When it comes to options for tires and wheel style, sky's the limit as usual. Is it a sand car? Will it have paddles and skinny tires on the front? Is it a monster truck, you know, with the huge 44-inch tires? I was like, this thing is looking pretty functional. Definitely needs something with tread, something meaty looking, but I thought that something like this would be best. Yeah, I saw an ad for these babies, and it just seemed right. They're 35 by 12.5 on these centerline style wheels, and so you could really see the difference between these guys and the 14-inch trailer units. Yeah, look at that. That's quite a bit larger. When I saw these tires, I knew they were just the right thing. The first thing it made me think of is one of those RC cars that are like so capable, you know, jumping and going over everything. Even though it's a hot rod, the big and little combo isn't really what I'm thinking for the desert. That beefs it up a bit. Oh yeah, this changes the proportion issue like 100%. All of a sudden, it looks like it should be this way. That's what I was looking for, even though I didn't know what I was looking for. I love the discovery process of these builds. You know, you just get apart, move forward, make a couple decisions, find some more stuff, carry on. And that's always been a real kick for me. Source what you got. Got an old pickup truck engine, newer pickup truck chassis. This is the most expensive part of the build, the steel tubes. My approach is always parts first, ideas second. The parts lead to the ideas. It's like looking in front of you at a buffet. But I do want something coming across. Right now, the steering box is the front bumper, and that's not a good thing. So I'm gonna at least want a couple tubes to protect that. Set this down here. Boom, steering box is out the way. I'll just come in with another one. I just set back just a little bit, give it a little motion. Yeah, but that grill is definitely too tall. I like it sitting there. Roughly 39. 41. That means we have to take 2 inches off. What I liked first and foremost when I saw it was I couldn't identify it. It's almost like a 32 Ford grill shell, but it's much pointier. Not too much, not too little. So I'm gonna make an insert out of this stuff. Every time I see one of these bottoms for the old-fashioned house screen doors, you know, you would see it was just like this little mesh down here, and then it was like regular screen. They just got all different styles, so I just pick them up every time I see one. Sweet. Yeah, so I don't know what that'll have long term, if it'll have maybe another screen behind it, just to give it a little more, you know, effect of a surface. But that's a cool little different kind of a grill. The primary thing in this whole front arrangement is that it looks complete. Now it's like, okay, tube chassis vehicle, it's got the Model T roadster body, and it's got the T-style grill shell. And the cool factor for me is that you got this really sturdy, now welded grill shell, and like the bottom of the opening is the Ranger chassis. So looking at it from the front, from the back, yes, I think we can live with that. But I think visually it would just help out these linear tubes. I'd like to see something that I can step on. It's gonna be a monster to get into this thing. You're gonna be like trying to get in over the edge of a swimming pool here. Why not a sidebar? It's like a brush guard, you know, something that would keep things out of those tires. See, now you got these tubes and they're all tubing around, doing tube things. Sometimes, as they say, you gotta just keep tubing until the tubing's done. So yeah, this little sidebar action, you know, it looks tubular like the rest of it, but more so it's a step, right? So you're just getting into the cockpit. So it's gonna be easy. Getting the rest of the cage in place, all of a sudden the proportions seem to work. We're off to the races. At this point in the project, there's only 3 words for this. Yabba dabba do. It's gonna be awesome. Now that we have our structure structuralized, it's time to get some mechanics in place so we can get this buggy down the trail. The next 2 necessities for this thing to operate are fuel and a radiator. I picked this guy up online, and I had this left over from another project, which is perfect. This cooled a big block Chevy engine, no problem. So I had made a shroud with a big electric fan that operates just fine with this radiator. So it's basically brand new, but repurposed. I know I'm gonna put the gas tank down here underneath. So this bar is gonna come across here to support the tank. And I'm gonna have to notch into the body a little bit. All right, I'll give that up, right? You see those race cars with like the parachute on the back, it's a little box on the back of the car? Fine, I got a box on the back of the car. The second thing, where does the radiator go back here? I've seen buggies, trucks, where they'll mount them on this bar here, kind of angled. Ultimately, it comes down to the look. I don't want a big aluminum panel up here with a fan showing. There's gonna be airflow right through here. So I was thinking about getting this radiator mounted somewhere in the body with some sort of duct or something. First thing I want to do is just get this gas tank in. Bottom line here is it comes down to function, right? It's got to look good and it's got to work. But primarily for me, it's got to look good. Yeah, it gives it a little bit of that junk in the trunk look. I like it. It works good. The next thing is that radiator. That's where the plot thickens. The body lines on the Model T, they're very petite, so to speak, and the radiator I'm choosing is very large, so therein lies the mashup. Can't put the radiator in front, that's a challenge. I kind of see the radiator sitting in the body, but I want to open the body a bit so that it can get a lot of air, obviously. Cutting like what you would see for a rumble seat, like this used to be a lid, and then maybe we can push this down a little bit to expose the radiator more, or maybe we just cut it out as if it was just an open panel. Just in thinking about hot rods and old Fords, I'm like, man, maybe like the Model A style where there was a rumble seat in the back, maybe make an open area where there could have been a lid and sink the radiator in there. Yeah, look at that. the sound of success. Right? Now, does that not look like a port of cooling air potential? I like it already. So what I was thinking is if I could get this thing in the body, you wouldn't have to see a heck of a lot of it. Aesthetically, sticking up, not so good. So if I trim out some of this material, I'm able to lay that back. The surface area is still there, it's just reclined, kind of like what you'll see like in the front of a Corvette. In my world, everything's up for the slice and dice. I mean, if the radiator doesn't fit, all we have is a giant hole in the back of the car. So that fiberglass was so flexible, I just shored it up with this piece of steel so that I could push that down and tack that flap down. Yeah, that's getting close. So you see now that radiator is just direct, right to the atmosphere. This is exactly what I was envisioning. You know, the radiator's tucked in, you got the feeling of there could be a rumble seat in there. Thinking about the mix of like a hot rod and a desert vehicle, you know, this has the look we're going for, but I got one more idea for the deck lid area. So let's see if we were to do another one, and at about that distance, I think. This is just something I've seen in race cars to lighten them, etc. But I'm like, I need some airflow. It'll help come down into the radiator and out the back of the car. So it kind of looks more racy and it works to move the air. Heck yeah, that's looking more like it now. The old Swiss cheese effect. I gotta say, I'm pretty relieved. It's a pretty unorthodox approach, but I think it's gonna work. So for the next thing, aesthetics-wise and function-wise, of course, is the intake and the exhaust, you know, like how's it breathe? That's always a huge part of the character of a machine as well. And I got a couple ideas. Something old, something new. Anybody in there? I made some progress on getting the engine squared away, and I'm inching towards that first run down the desert. It's got a new alternator, fuel pump, starter, and I got a new carburetor for it too. It gives it a little flair. Then I got to thinking, I had this thing laying in the back of the shop for quite a while. Does it have a blower? No. But does it have the look? Uh-huh. So it has an air filter that goes in there, but come on, look at that, right? It gives it that vibe, right? You know me, I like the cartoon stuff where the engine's like literally like jumping out of the vehicle, that type of thing. So this air cleaner on top, yeah, the engine's growing, it's taking up some space. Well, does the exhaust, is it just mild? Is it under the car and out the back? I don't think so. It's gotta have something weird looking. Well, sir, if weird is what you are seeking, you've come to the right place. I got some exhaust headers with this engine. They're Hedman headers. They're perfectly usable, they're just dirty. They got some rust, but I mean, that's par for the course. So you can see the way that that comes out. This chassis, 100% in the way. I mean, does it look kind of cool hanging outside the rig? Yeah, it does. And it's like, well, what if we just did this? What if we put it up into the back? That's pretty wild looking. Look, I love the bottom end of these. You never even see this because this is under the vehicle all the time. So it's got like that cool twisty tubey effect. Yeah, I think I want to get a couple bolts and just put these on, see how they look. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Stranger things have happened, right? Yeah, that's just weird enough to sell it for me. Like a bat. I mean, what are you gonna do, run a pipe out here that you have to climb over when you get in and out of the car? I don't think so. What I do think is those like sprint cars, they run these little mini mufflers, so it's like a header dump right now exhaust. Yeah, look at this. Basically, you know, it makes it legal for the track. It's just the simplest of simple baffles. I was like, man, that looks pretty like industrial strength. It's all business. So, I mean, if I cut this back, shorten it up as much as possible, why not, right? Is it gonna be loud? Yeah. So I'm gonna cut the end of this off and see what it looks like. I'll weld that right on. perfect harmony with everything else that I've built. It looks way faster than it actually is, so that's a bonus. Definitely like, whoa, is it a race car? Is it a jalopy? What's going on here? Everybody's got goals for their projects, and personally, I go for like the head scratcher vote. It's like, what the heck is that? That's really always been the spice for me, is when I can't figure it out. So the big question on my mind was seating arrangements. These things are very tiny inside. Once I put that transmission in, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. We ran out of room real quick. By putting these bars in, I snugged up the interior space by a good 6 inches as well. So I'm just gonna throw this piece of plywood in as a reference of the floor height. I was over at my buddy Tom's house, and he's like, dude, come over, I got the seats for your hot rod, check them out. So I did, I checked them out. Ford Econoline van seats. I love the green and black two-tone. This curved bottom, it's super cool. I chucked it in the car. Look at that, is that not perfection? The height, the colors, the stitching, the fact that it's Ford, everything on this is Ford, it's awesome. I mean, yes, yes, and yes. But there was one thing I wasn't considering, and that's this. Look what happens when you put this in that. You run out of room real quick. There's nowhere to put this other leg. Where do I put it over here? I just make it a bench seat. That's what I was trying to get away from. As much as I like them, you could see that this is 5 pounds of trash in a 1 pound bag. Nothing's easy in the land of full custom. I mean, those seats look perfect. Now it's time to figure out something else. See, by sitting down lower, you got some room. Get into some terrain, and it'll take a lot to beat your head. But you can see the roof doesn't actually look that tall now once you got a big giant monster in the car. What I learned from that other seat fit up is I need to keep this seat as low and compact as possible. I mean, what if it was just right here, center steer? Shifter right here, I could bend it over to this side. Then there's tons of room. Accelerator on the right, steering wheel, front row center. Some folks might think having a single seater might get a little lonely, but that's not the case. I mean, my wife Jamie has her own dune buggy, and that's the whole spice of life, the game of chase. I think I just solved my own problem. I really didn't have any other option. There was no room, so it's just me. I cut a whole bunch of these 1/8 inch plate tabs, and I'm welding them into the roll cage because that's going to support the seat back, the new seat back that'll fit me. Maximum interior space. So yeah, I think something like this, but I'm gonna have to build up a bottom for this. So I'm gonna use this as the dimension right here. Set up my marks. So see this angle here? Just locks it in, locks it to the back. It ain't going nowhere. It's not gonna have any formal floors. It's just a screen. I got this expanded mesh. So yeah, I'm just gonna make a couple templates, cut it out for the floor pans. I'm not gonna weld this in until it's running and it's proven that the transmission is working. It's not all metal and plywood. I have a softer side. You know, I have an idea to enhance the driving experience. So I was thinking what would be super durable and usable as a seat cover. This is Dude's dog bed. Dude is no longer with us, so I don't think he's gonna be needing his bed. And I think he would definitely approve of having the seat made out of this. It's got all this good plush padding, and then I can nip and tuck this good canvas to fit the seat back. Is that not tailor-made? Yes, it's true in his younger years, Dude was a little hesitant to share his prized possessions. This is being repurposed. It's just part of what we do here. I know, it's your favorite accessory, but look at that. Don't look so concerned, man. I'll get you another one. As time went on, his priorities changed. He became a little more open to sharing and repurposing part of his lifestyle. I mean, besides treats, one of dude's favorite pastimes was actually just laying around, so I think the shop inspector would approve. Mechanically, it's represented. It's all there, from the seat to the radiator, exhaust, etc. What's it gonna look like in the end? I don't know. This cage has a pretty strong presence. The T Roadster has sort of faded away. It's its own thing now. You know me, as usual, I got a couple ideas. I have a few more final details to attend to in the upholstery department, but we're getting there. I can almost taste the sand in my teeth. I just did a quick scuff with Scotch-Brite and just flat black and the whole thing. Fuel cell, chassis, engine. The headers are coated with a high heat. I think it's starting to look a little bit better. We're at the critical point. Got all the busy work attended to. Now we got a blank canvas. What's next? I'm not one of the great painters in the world for sure, but I've done some stuff. My style is basically simple, so I'm gonna keep this with a spray can finish. Well, is it racing inspired? Is it cartoon inspired? I think so. I think I want to bring a little bit of Roadster hot rod back into the equation. Me looking at it, the big statement right now is the exhaust, right? Some effect's got to be represented coming out of that. You see it a lot in hot rodding. Flames. So that's why I'm not going to do them. Just thinking out loud, I'm just wondering what other natural elements we could incorporate to really make this project speak out. I'm talking about something heavenly, something from above. Greased lightning. Maybe that. The funny story is the greased lightning thing has been brought up before on that Ford project, but guy just wasn't going for it. So, I mean, come on, it's an iconic sort of hot rodding scene in that movie. I think it was a 41 Ford, the white car with that silver kind of lightning bolt thing on the side. Super gaudy, like one of the worst paint jobs ever, I think. That's why it deserves some recognition. You might be wondering, Ian, why are you looking for inspiration from something you just called the worst paint job ever? One thing can be said, it's stuck in my head all these years. It might just be right for this project. Maybe take the flow from the exhaust, from the cowl and the exhaust height, and just kind of drape it down, you know, sort of centering at the tire, and then maybe coming back up. But I'm talking about just like Zorro hit it with a lightning bolt, just all over. I think the parallel I'm drawing with this style of artwork is the way that I'm building this project. It is just a rudimentary mashup of parts. So yeah, this little weird blast of artwork on the side kind of fits. Just trying to represent the negative space in here of what the image will be. So see, it's in here that's getting painted. Does that look like a messy teenager did that? It's starting to. Yes, I'm just covering up everything I don't want to paint. It's not even like lightning at this point. It's just like an abstract shape. But if you think about superheroes like Shazam, right? So it's like, is that the center of like the blast? Is it radiating from the middle of that? I mean, you could tell a story. We're ready to apply some liquid. Not a man of indecision. Once you give it the double take to certify, what else is there? It's about as low tech as it gets. So this is called stainless steel, this color. This isn't gonna be just a simple, one-shot deal on the layout. So I'm leaving the rest of the car masked and I'm just pulling back against that negative shape of the design. Guy in his garage. Can of spray paint and a dream. That's weird. That's weird enough to be a keeper. Checking this out, it's like, yeah, it gives you a feeling of motion. The body was pretty boring, just this matte black shape. So this little graphic really spices it up. What I'm thinking is a border on the silver. Gives it a nice little frame surrounding that. I have a plethora of options here. I've got some pink, got some blue, and I could go wild with it. Look at that pearl. I don't know, that could really take it over the top, huh? I got options, I got spray cans. We'll see what develops. I mean, anything can happen. And then we ride. Out here in the desert, you need a vehicle for every occasion. This one is for pure fun. This desert hot rod is ready for its maiden voyage. Got the paint set up, very simple, bold graphic. This thing's gonna get nicked up, scratched up, scuffed up, so it gives it some flavor. I felt mostly like it really works with the exhaust. It's pretty dramatic. Sort of like an old race car would have, you know, something pretty primitive, but flashy. I was gonna put that blower on the engine, but I felt like it was just too much. While it did look really aggressive, I thought it might just kind of cause some stress. This thing's gonna be bouncing around a lot, and the last thing I want is a big bobblehead on top of the engine. I got these KC daylighters. They're the real deal. They got the KC logo right on the glass. I like old school. The wheel and tire combo really gives this thing an aggressive look. Dog bed upholstered seat. I mean, what more does a man need? Proportions for me were always the issue with this. Getting the roll bar in place and the length of it, like it works, but it's still super cramped inside. I barely fit. I put the steering outside the body. It steers perfect. 2 universal joints, right to the Ranger steering box. It's ready to go. Seeing the car out here, you know, the graphic and the look of it, it works for me. It is the toy that I always build, right? So it fits like that. It looks like it could be a small little scale model. It's got the look, right? It's definitely a cartoon machine. There are a million ways to go off-roading. I just happen to like the weird stuff. Yeah, my friend Crafty B, he does aluminum casting. He's like, oh man, I got just the badge for that ride. This car fits right in my mental state. It's got the weird mashup of parts. It's got the weird exhaust, weird artwork, a little bit of a weird roll cage. Let's roll. I always got the cartoon monster in my head. It's like, well, who drives this? I think once we get to driving it, the character will emerge. This rig is perfect for this environment. You know, it was built exactly for this terrain. It's gotta be able to take the rough stuff. It is excessively hot and it is brutally bumpy. So for a machine to hold together out here, it's gotta hold up to those demands. The Ranger chassis just sucks up these ruts. The manual transmission spins these tires like nobody's business. I mean, this engine, I think, was the optimal choice. It's got bottom end torque for days. The sound of the exhaust right there in stereo, pure adrenaline rush. It's intense. I mean, how much more fun than that do you need? I call that a success. Feels good. It's exactly what I needed to ride around in out here. I don't know, something just struck me. I think I might have met my soulmate. This is how it's meant to look. That's why I didn't want to get crazy with the paint job. It's supposed to look dirty and desertified. I mean, dude would definitely appreciate this. Even after being out here for the whole shakedown run, this project still doesn't have a name. Definitely has something to do with dirt. I'll give it that. I gotta say, I need some chapstick and an ice-cold adult beverage after all that. What a day. It's time to have a little more fun.